As soon as he opened his eyes, Takumi found his soul had left his body, becoming a wandering spirit. Wondering what he had done to deserve this fate at such a young age, the clumsy goddess quickly apologized. I am sorry. I am sorry for accidentally summoning you instead of someone else. To explain this clearly, the delicate goddess would give a proper explanation to ease the confusion. Usually, summoning from another world randomly picks from countless individuals from many different worlds, and those frail, weak, or unremarkable are filtered out. But somehow, damn it, it's still picked you. To put it simply, summoning in other worlds is extremely dangerous. The laws in Eikai's realm are very different from Earth's, so this summoning is forbidden. Yet that damnation still recklessly went ahead with it. While speaking, she trembled violently, her teeth clenching and snapping a huge wooden stick. Even Nime was scared because it was the first time seeing a cute goddess swear like a badass. When realizing the mistake, the goddess quickly intervened but was still one step late. The result? No portal left to send you back to Earth, as the space gate closed tight. She temporarily summoned you here to sincerely apologize. But youth is for making mistakes, and the goddess wants to compensate you with tons of badass skills to prepare you for battle. In a world filled with brutal monsters from your past life, just working a regular job wears down the body a bit. Afraid you can't handle such power, she encouraged. Be carefree and optimistic. The past is to remember, not to fear. Anything that passes through her hands turns from worthless to god tier in minutes. Without waiting for your hesitation, she ordered you to perform the acceptance ritual. Takumi read the status lines as instructed by the goddess, and his identity details appeared fully from A to Z. But the job? That's on you to find. Even the goddess has no clue what talents you have to broker. For reputable adventurer companies that help people, they have to follow through. Since she was free, the goddess listed many occupations in this world for you to choose from, like warrior, swordsman, mage, thief, luck-based, and so on. Pick whichever you like. Coming from Earth, enjoying peace left by our ancestors and never tasting the smoke of war, now being told to grab a sword and kill? That's too heavy for me, so better pick a safe, healthy crafting job. The goddess mocked the young man for being so dull, but if that's your determination, she'll go along with the one caught in this mess. Using skills acquired through action, she guarantees you'll have the profession you want, especially production. You'll need useful production, magic and healing spells to protect yourself, plus a few extra spells. The goddess will combine all into one magic stone containing all the rewards. You deserve it. She breathed into your soul. The exchange felt like being chopped by axes and stabbed by blades, screaming in agony. But she didn't care because this is a familiar scene with every new recruit. Done, the goddess wished you a safe journey. Then she blew you into another dimension. When Takumi woke up, he found himself sprawled on fresh grass. Honestly, the worst experience ever with a bonus headache. He didn't want to return to the goddess's place a second time. Staggering near a lake, he was shocked because he was used to looking worn down by capitalism, but now he looked like a cute, pale boy too handsome to accept quickly. However, now is the time to look forward, not beg for the past. Opening the nearby bag, the goddess had gifted him some beef and some loose coins. Opening the system menu, he saw they forbade him from revealing the goddess's blessing to others, or it would cause big trouble. There were also basic spells he'd seen in anime back when he was a hardcore weeb lord. Now trying them himself, why not test how OP they really are? First, a water orb that easily cut through grass, then a stone orb that could dent tree trunks. Super badass. Against monsters, even a noob like him wasn't scared to get eaten. Night was falling, and Takumi planned to find a village to stay the night, but after half an hour, no luck, no one appeared. By chance, he found a strange wooden stick on the road. He opened the appraisal menu to test the item. It said the stick was high quality, collected from a legendary wooden monster, can be used as a substitute for a magic staff, or as a spear shaft. Very useful, and it can even level up the amateur blacksmith skill. Initially activating modeling and quickly infusing magic, the ugly wooden stick took on a slender shape, quite easy to hold. A wooden stick with such a powerful function, surely the surrounding trees must have their own unique traits as well. Activating wide-range appraisal, suddenly, a vast forest of rare medicinal herbs appeared right before his eyes. Taking advantage of the moment, Takumi quickly gathered a bit just in case he needed it. Human greed is endless. The guy accidentally collected too much, and now has no clue how to carry it all. Luckily, he remembered the item box, so he stuffed everything in there without leaving anything out. Struggling to organize for a whole hour, Takumi planned to rest a few more minutes before continuing his journey, but suddenly a cry for help rang out. From afar, a girl was running for her life from a one-horned rabbit. Takumi was shocked to see a rabbit that actually likes to eat meat for the first time. Cornered, the guy reflexively swung his weapon in defense, and the rabbit instantly collapsed on the spot. The unexpected newbie victory left them both stunned. No way. A rookie actually defeated a demon rabbit, probably because the goddess anticipated the situation. That's why she purposely gave him that rare wooden stick. After some silly thoughts, he silently thanked the goddess. But who knew what that girl had in store? Bad luck might bring some serious trouble. Maybe he trusted people too easily, especially after his brave heroics saving the lowly. He was officially dubbed the reluctant warrior class, which he definitely didn't want. Asking the girl who she was and where she came from, she introduced herself as Molly from Bow Village. As thanks, she invited him to visit her village. Perfect timing since Takumi was worried about where to hide at night. Now that she offered, why say no? Before leaving, Molly gave him a reminder. Rabbit meat tastes best grilled BBQ style. Getting the hint, he stuffed it into the bottomless item box because except for living creatures, the item box can hold literally anything. Meanwhile, in the Holy Sidonia Empire, 3 students were fumbling through tunnels, having just been summoned here, still clueless about what was going on. Suddenly, a woman with a covered face and a shady aura approached and explained that this place isn't Earth, and the 3 of them were chosen by the gods and sent here to save this world. Still young and in school, reliant on their parents' money daily, suddenly handed a grand mission. What? They got even more confused. The mysterious woman seemed to understand their feelings, and promised to explain everything in detail soon. She introduced herself as Princess Sidonia Elizabeth, the 7th princess of the empire. Everything was fine until a strong aura swept through her body, belonging to the trio summoned by the goddess's blessing. Her detection ability quickly warned her that this woman was extremely dangerous and untrustworthy. On the other side, Molly just led her lifesaver back to the village. Her family and neighbors were deeply grateful for saving their daughter from danger. Hearing about his herb-collecting journey, Molly's mother, Martha, praised him, such talented youth, making her blush with admiration. Remembering something important, he quickly asked permission to stay the night, since his savior needed help. Everyone had no objections. Since the area was full of locals, there were no inns or guest houses anyway. No one would let him sleep outside in the cold. They offered to build him a brand new house. These people really go all out. They got to digging the foundation for real, so Takumi quickly joined in, impressing everyone by using magic to fill the earth. Everyone was amazed and impressed. Unbelievable. In all their years, they'd never seen anyone use such powerful magic to build a house. After the initial shock, everyone continued working together to finish the job late into the night. United and feeling clearly that a new life was beginning, Takumi rated it pretty good, not as bad as he thought. Thanks to his woodworking, smithing, and carpentry skills, he managed to craft some really badass furniture. The bored cow guy opened the system menu to check. Thanks to his woodcraft, blacksmithing, and carpentry skills, he managed to create some really badass furniture sets. The idle cow, Grandpa Boban, opened the system menu to check it out. After defeating the mutant rabbit, he gained 2 professions, but now he wants to switch to another job. Not sure if it's possible, but then he saw the slot switch button, so it really works. So the ultimate guy quickly chose the alchemist profession, totally obsessed since he got hooked on anime. He now has iron ore, silver ore, copper ore, and Boban mining alongside him, so what's stopping him from getting to work immediately? Nearby is also some incredibly rare magical iron ore. If Takumi remembers correctly, this ore is infused with mana. Today he'll turn them all into ingots. Ha ha ha. Just thinking about it is already thrilling. An alchemist's craft includes 5 techniques: decomposition, extraction, crushing, then synthesis, and structural recycling. When Takumi extracts iron ore like that and uses earth magic naturally, the stone transforms into an ingot. It looks stunning, but it drains mana like crazy. He's already exhausted after making just one. After catching his breath, Molly came to visit and almost jumped out of her skin seeing him collapsed on the ground. Luckily, he just overdid the CA buff, so he was too tired and took a little rest. After that, the young man got a harsh scolding from Martha-san for not taking care of himself at all. Hearing he was completely drained, Uncle Banga kindly gave him a revival potion, actually, a resurrection potion. Takumi gulped it down like a fish in water. Then he resumed his non-stop alchemy work. Still, every time Martha-san visits, he has to hold back his obsession with buffing CA. Otherwise, she would give him a fierce scolding. Hard work makes up for lack of talent. Thanks to his dedication on copper, silver, and gold ingots, now Takumi can craft tools and various items with impressive skill. Studying alone during the day, at night Takumi proactively visits Boban's place, asking to learn sword forging and other skills. He never stops gaining experience outside. Takumi also wants to create many rare potions, so he asked Uncle Banga to buy some herbs as materials. A few days later, the delivery arrived at his doorstep. The young man excitedly got to work mixing potions, staying up until midnight. Soon, colorful bottles started rolling out. Takumi thought he was pretty multi-talented, especially mastering herb identification skills. Early morning, he tested the potion on himself. The result? He accidentally ate a wild leaf and nearly met the goddess for the 2nd time, scared the hell out of him. Luckily, the ferret was fine, and timely healing magic saved him. Just escaping death, Takumi's bad luck struck again when a wild boar targeted him. He thought it would be as easy as the rabbit last time. Who knew it was tougher than stone? Even his boar spear shattered into 2 pieces after hitting it. Even the fire and water skills the goddess gave him couldn't deal enough damage. he thought. This CA buff means he'd only get home on the 1st and 15th of the month. Suddenly, a strange spider rushed in to blind the boar for him. The problem was the spider was tiny compared to that giant, like a mosquito biting steel. With no other choice, he gambled on finishing it in one move. Activating a basic alchemist skill, he struck the critical hit on it, and boom, one shot landed insane. Approaching the dying spider, he cast healing magic to save it temporarily, and that was his thank you after the rescue. Repaying the favor, he prepared to head home. Suddenly, the system signaled that the spider had become a pet because he accidentally used taming magic on it. Takumi was shocked, mouth wide open. Who the heck keeps a spider as a pet? Since he'd started, he had to follow through. Saving a life is worth more than building 7 towers. And the spider is a living creature now, so just call it Spider. The spider was a bit weird, so the young man named it Fong because its markings looked like maple leaves. Night was falling. Takumi brought both the boar and the spider to introduce them to the villagers. Everyone couldn't hide their surprise, mixed with admiration for the truly talented boy. Rumor says wild boar meat is insanely delicious, so that night a grand feast took place full of joy. With roasted boar as the main dish, during the feast Uncle Bonga revealed things like horns, hooves, and other parts of the boar. Takumi could bring these to the capital to sell and definitely make a big profit. Everyone felt clearly that thanks to Takumi, the village atmosphere was livelier. However, with his eyes full of ambition and spirit, Banga asserted this small village would never be enough to hold him back. At the same time, a blonde girl was in a room, looking out with a soulful expression toward the heavenly realm, another goddess, wondering why the goddess granted Takumi so many special favors. The goddess claimed there was nothing deep about it, but the way she looked at the grandson was truly affectionate. The next morning when Takumi woke up, he found his body tightly bound like a cocoon. The culprit is only one, the spider Kaide, the pet he just brought home. When asked why it reported him, the spider just looked pitiful, blaming who told the kid to visit late into the night and then leave it out cold. Thinking back, yeah, he was pretty careless. Takumi promised he'd clear up the fake alchemist issue later to spend a day playing with Kaide, but first, it had to rescue him from this tangled web. The spider was thrilled to hear that. It immediately jumped onto the young man, kicking wildly to show its joy, ignoring his screams to stop. It acted deaf until Motha walked in and caught the spider wrapped around his neck, shocked, speechless. Later outside, Motha excitedly showed everyone the first shirt woven from spider silk, super smooth like shiny silk. Especially, spider silk is a luxury for villagers because nobles always buy it all up, leaving none for the common folk. How bitter that is, but now with their own silk spinning machine, they're obviously overjoyed. Housewives love perfection and want Kaide to spin some elastic silk. Takumi feared Kaide might give the kid a hard time, but he got results. In no time, it spun out a bunch. He was busy helping the housewives, while Kaide couldn't care less about the men. No matter how much he hinted about the promise to play with him, the spider simply didn't care. Give and take to make each other happy. Now Takumi will understand what it felt like to have butter stuffed into his mouth all these days, just like the little spider experienced. No more fun, the men quickly went to do some other work at a different time. Soon, he wanted to go to the city to learn more about the craft. Though an alchemist, he hesitated on how to present himself to everyone in the village. Wherever he went, people liked him. Takumi was sad to leave this place. He stopped by Uncle Bobon's house. He was gifted a pair of perfectly fitting pointed shoes. Bobon planned to reinforce the toes and soles to help with kicking. The men felt something was off, because fighting wasn't really what an alchemist should get involved in. Don't lie, no alchemist would go into the forest to fight monsters and end up bringing home a deadly spider as a pet. Uncle Bobon was right and said it loudly, and the boy just smiled awkwardly without any rebuttal. At the same time, Uncle Bay came by like a shadow over his nephew's mood, advising Takumi, if he wanted to develop as a craftsman, he should go to the big city, because that place suits him better. Just 2 weeks later, a merchant from Boston would arrive, and the two uncles would show off their diplomacy to get him to take Takumi along. On the way back, Takumi met Martha planning to discard the innards of a recently hunted husband. It was known there were many parasites inside, worms carrying diseases, so common folk never turned it into food. Well, coincidentally, Min had a pretty good article on this. He bent down and activated a purification spell on the rabbit meat, and the harmful toxins vanished. Motha was quite surprised by this holy magic. The boy was skilled. Although this magic was great, she advised him not to use it in front of many people because very few people can use light magic. It's so rare that just that spell alone lets them earn a living. If the bad guys knew he had this rare talent, they definitely wouldn't miss the chance to exploit him. He quickly absorbed the knowledge, and thanked Motha for the useful advice. To repay everyone who helped him with food and shelter, Takumi spent all his remaining time fixing up the village. Just a few days later, the village was transformed with a fresh new look. Even the merchants had to admire it, complimenting the development in this place. Now the time has come for Takumi. Carrying 10 bags of silk, the deadly spider went to the merchant's house. There stood Uncle Banga and Uncle Bobon chatting. Both shook hands to confirm their relationship. The former bedmate was dead, and the upcoming companion's name was Bannox, a merchant from Boston. Before leaving, Takumi gifted Uncle Manga a self-made healing potion and told him there were about 100 bottles somewhere in his house. If anyone needed help, he asked the uncle to share it on his behalf. Merchant Bannox was delighted by the quality goods. He asked to have a look, but at that moment, the villagers swarmed like ants, so he awkwardly got on the carriage first, leaving a private space for the farewell. Every party must end, and everyone just wished Takumi a safe journey. Starting successful, his house would always be kept intact so he could visit any time. Also, everyone presented him with a cloak handmade by the mothers, tears falling down. The party ended, the whole village watched the carriage until it disappeared from sight before heading home. Riding with Takumi were the 3 Lion Fang adventurer brothers, one with blonde hair. Though manly and tough, he was quite sentimental, crying even more than Takumi himself when witnessing the doll's farewell. The orange-haired guy was cheerful, while the bald one was a bit gruff and strict. These 3 were hired by Bannox to protect against monsters during their all-day trading trips, though they hadn't seen a single one yet. Some young guys showed their faces, which annoyed men but made him happy. You haven't lost your mind enough to wish for monsters yet. Monsters wanting to make sashimi out of him, so while things were calm, Bannox hinted at wanting to buy a large quantity of healing potions from him. This was good, homegrown goods, why not make some cash? Before either side could clearly negotiate, goblins suddenly appeared. The 3 adventurers quickly jumped into action, swiftly wiping out the entire goblin family. They died with admiration from Bannox and Takumi. After that, the trip went smoother than expected. 3 days later, Takumi officially set foot in Botan for the first time, the most luxurious city in the capital. Everything around him felt brand new. In the afternoon, he followed Bannox, a Lion Fang member, to the Adventurer Guild. The 3 brothers went to collect rewards from a protection mission, while Takumi went to register for a membership card. They wanted to register as Gold Alchemist adventurers. Bad luck struck when the receptionist said that guild had disbanded long ago. Then he gave Takumi some advice. Just register as a general adventure member first to get an ID card, then choose whatever profession you want. It's a disguise, but every month you must accept at least 1 mission to keep the card active. As for Kaidi, just register it as a familiar. Done. Seeing an assassin for the first time made the receptionist almost spit out his drink. After that, Takumi headed to Bannox. They discussed trading homemade potions, 10 silver coins for each stamina potion and 50 silver coins for each mana potion. With about 100 bottles, that would net nearly 7,000 silver coins, leaving the young man seriously shocked. Suddenly, having so much money was scary. Takumi started suspecting that the merchant might be planning some shady trick on him. Even though it was their first meeting, the man was overly enthusiastic, but judging by his appearance and their past interactions, Takumi felt he didn't seem like a bad guy. Just as he was doubting, Bannox asked if he had found a place to stay. Seeing the young man shake his head, he eagerly volunteered to have his assistant show him some quality places at reasonable prices. At first, standing in front of a massive mansion, Takumi was a bit wary, fearing exorbitant prices. But the assistant revealed it only cost 1 gold coin plus 50 silver coins per month, plus a small house next door perfect for Takumi's alchemy workshop. Why so cheap? Don't tell me there's a tortured spirit inside. But after the broker's full guarantee, Takumi reluctantly believed him and sealed the deal on the new house. Kaide was thrilled to hear they'd be living in a mansion, grinning the whole way. But the pile of money on the road gave Takumi a faint sour smell. The city manager explained it was the stench of noble estate sewage. They usually used purification artifacts to treat the waste, but the city's pipes couldn't handle those because the artifacts were too expensive. They also hired priests periodically for cleansing, but it still wasn't enough to fully clean the massive amount of waste produced by everyone. The next day, the two began moving into the new house. After a few days without work, the young man felt restless, so the first thing he did upon settling in was craft the item he needed. First, he sketched the design and mixed quartz into clay, bought from the trade guild. Bannox used shaping magic until it was done, then added heat and adjusted the temperature with time magic to speed up the process. The whole afternoon was spent, draining his energy, so Takumi had to drink a ton of recovery potions to regain strength. But it was worth it. The toilet, even after reincarnation, was still the best design from the 4. Era. Suddenly, a scream came from upstairs, and Takumi rushed up to check. Kaide reported that Bannox had somehow turned into a cocoon out of nowhere, and she was about to scold the spider. Unexpectedly, Bannox seemed to enjoy the silky softness of the spider's web. It turned out not only the villagers, but Bannox himself was fascinated by the smoothness of the silk threads. Even the merchant's house fell before the web of the assassin spider because they used my VFC's borrowed frog pee. In just 3 seconds, he shouted 7 times, having never used such a weird toilet seat before. Takumi quickly explained, "This is our composting toilet." Plus, he added a magic device so that as soon as he finishes, it automatically starts purifying the waste he produces. Being knowledgeable, he immediately guessed Takumi had light magic talent. That's when men remembered what Motha told them, but it was already too late. Stuck with no choice, Takumi painfully begged him to keep this secret. Bennett promised to side with the genius, but he wanted Takumi to install 100 more toilets like this. Now, he's taking all the orders alone. Of course, there's no time to rest. Bennett suggested he try combining a slave contract because only slaves keep secrets. Since Takumi can use light magic, the guild will take all light magic talents and exploit them for huge profits. If they discover the purification magic in a device for commoners, they won't let it slide. However, coming from a free and equal world, it's hard for Takumi to accept slavery. Just then, the Adventurer Guild's letter reminded him he must complete last month's mission before the deadline. He can't avoid signing this. How could he handle both monster hunting and KPIs alone? Conveniently, the Mulan Merchant Guild is famous for high-quality slaves, so Bennett took him there. While Bennett went to register, Takumi wandered around and accidentally passed a slippery garden. He bumped into a beautiful blonde elf girl and got totally mesmerized. The guy got kicked out by her for staring way too obviously inside. Takumi and Bennett were greeted by Mulan herself, the guild's owner, who heard the mane, wanted to find a slave, but he was still hesitant since slavery didn't exist in his world. Understanding his worry, Mulan began to explain thoroughly. Normally, slaves and masters form a master-servant bond and are bound by contracts, but at least in this kingdom, slaves' rights are always protected. More specifically, the slave contract goes like this. The master promises to respect basic rights like food, clothing, and shelter. Neither side can harm the other's life, and forcing actions outside the contract is forbidden. Slaves must not reveal master's information to outsiders. Skimming the main points, Takumi felt reassured. It wasn't like his imagination of slavery. Then came the types of contracts. Some slaves are bound until debts are paid. No matter the reason, they enter contracts until debts end. Criminals accept contracts to start over and earn a living. War prisoners make contracts to have a place to hide. Also, some were kidnapped by bandits and forced into illegal slave contracts, and so on. Those are the most common slave types according to Bennett. Takumi decided to finalize a war prisoner slave, since someone who isn't free is best to protect the alchemist and holy magic profession. As a manufacturer, Takumi wanted to focus as much as possible on crafting, but adventurers still forced him on missions, so he struggled with the overload of orders. If possible, Takumi wanted someone capable of managing everything while having excellent domestic skills, someone who could oversee both inside and outside the mansion. Most importantly, he has many secrets to keep, so trouble is inevitable sometimes. Also, collecting 10 materials often requires going to dangerous places. So besides a capable bodyguard who can also accompany and fight with him, the 10 points are missing. But judging by the client's criteria, Mulan temporarily concluded he needs to buy 2 people to fully satisfy his needs. First, household management and domestic chores are easier than candy. Mulan called out Maria to greet the customer. Maria was kidnapped by bandits since childhood and has no relatives. While here, she was taught reading, writing, arithmetic, and general cleaning. Basically, all the food serving, house tidying, and spotless cleaning, no worries. She does it flawlessly. Briefly about the house size, Takumi's first floor has a living room, dining room, and kitchen. Second floor has 4 bedrooms and a bathroom. Quickly calculating, Maria assured she could handle all that, which made the two of them, "Don't worry, it's not about being overwhelmed with work but feeling lucky she chose me. She's so beautiful, I bet a lot of people are after her. Right?" Suddenly, getting a compliment, little Maria the girly girl got shy and flustered, her face redder than a tomato. Takumi knew he was a bit rude and quickly apologized to her. Once you've praised her, you can't take it back. Even a slave has her own value, like handling housework and stuff. She promised to do it well, but beforehand, she refused that thing. At first, Takumi naively wondered, "What's that thing, huh?" Later he found out she meant the bedroom stuff. Takumi panicked. He's not even 18 yet in his current state. "Girl, it's way too early for that. Going to jail for life would be a disaster." After hearing assurances about the ABC stuff, Maria finally felt relieved and volunteered to follow her master home. The household issue was settled, but Mulan looked disappointed because there were no war slaves here. Hearing that, Maria immediately objected, since Sofia had been the longest-serving war slave here. Mulan seemed to hide something, but Takumi's instinct told him to meet this person on the spot, and definitely not leave empty-handed. Takumi expressed his wish to meet the mysterious Sofia. That afternoon, Mulan led him to a room on the 2nd floor, and by coincidence, that person was the blonde girl who had captivated him in the garden until now. It's been exactly 55 years since Sofia was captured in the war between Kiaria and Ugur. Ugur is the kingdom of the elves. For many complicated reasons, Sofia still can't form a contract with AI. Her left hand has a severe injury, and her right hand and left leg have reduced mobility, though it doesn't affect daily life. More than that, her spirit magic and the special elemental magic of the elves are sealed. possibly due to some curse. This causes Sofia to have weaknesses in battle. A war slave who can't fight is basically a useless piece of trash to be discarded. Realizing everything, Takumi asked Mulan for a chance to talk to Sofia. When they were alone, he boldly placed his hand on her cheek, then used a detection spell. The stats appeared. Takumi was shocked, all in the hundreds. How is she this strong, big sis? Asterisk. If he could break the seal, this badass warrior would automatically belong to him. Missing out on this deal would be stupid. Takumi immediately sealed the deal for Sofia and promised to find a way to remove the seal. People were skeptical since no AI had dared cure the elf's condition in 55 years, but seeing his confident face, Mulan reluctantly agreed. Slave sales require the slave's consent, but Sofia, a 55-year broken woman, had no right to choose. All or nothing, Sofia volunteered to take the risk this time. The contract was just signed. Mulan quickly sealed the bond between slave and master with a secret family magic ritual. Money exchanged. Watching Takumi take her away, Mulan felt happy that these two lovely girls found a wonderful master. One comes in, three go out. As Takumi opened the door, Kaida jumped onto him to welcome her master home. Maria, seeing an assassin pet for the first time, was a bit scared. Sofia, having been on many battlefields, knew how dangerous it was. Takumi hurried to explain it was just their pet. Before Sofia could kick it into the chicken coop, Takumi introduced the new members to Kaida and led the two upstairs to their new room. Knowing she had her own room, Maria was shocked on the spot since a servant living in such a luxurious room? Even in her dreams, she never dared to imagine that. Takumi explained the house had many rooms to avoid waste. The two could act like they owned the place, with a bathroom across the hall to soak in warm water as they pleased. Maria felt so comfortable. At first, she thought Mistress Mulan wouldn't let Sofia go, but this time she chose Takumi to entrust the child she treasured most. So Maria believed her master must be a truly amazing person. According to Sofia's observation, the contract left blank the identities, hometowns, and even Takumi's possessions. If they hid so much, the circumstances must be really special or inconvenient. Don't trust people too easily. The two sisters should stay cautious. After bathing and going to the kitchen, a neat meal was ready on the table. Maria was shocked again. The master's cooking skills at this top-tier level, she felt she'd just be decoration here. The first meal was like that. But normally he was too busy and had to rely on Maria for everything, unlike other families where masters and servants are strictly separated. Here, so he suggested eating together at the same time for fun. Especially, he wanted the two kids to call him by his name, no more honorifics. It sounded too distant. That would normally be disrespectful, but if the main character ordered it, the two agreed. In the afternoon, returning from Mr. Bannock's place, the main character stopped by the church to pray, and conveniently gave thanks to the goddess for the blessings received so far. At the same time, he heard that the Holy Empire of Sidonia controls religion in this country, so why is the goddess affiliated with Sidonia? Misunderstood, the goddess wouldn't sit still, and immediately appeared to clear her name and also wanted to meet an old acquaintance she hadn't seen in a long time. The goddess clarified that the Holy Light Church and Sidonia are completely unrelated to her. The truth is, this world has two main religions, the Constructive Church and the Holy Light Church. The Constructive Church has always worshipped the goddess from the start, while the Holy Light Church was established later, based on faith. The gods ceased to exist when the Holy Empire was founded. Sidonia often uses forceful methods to spread the influence of the Holy Light Church. The goddess said she doesn't interfere in humans' petty affairs. Interfering in humans' petty affairs led Sidonia to activate the summoning magic from another world. That caused the accident that involved him. Still bitter thinking back, but the goddess compensated him with blessings. Takumi was also happy and let it go. Speaking of blessings, the goddess warned him to be careful. Nothing lasts forever, including blessings. The time to receive blessings is almost over, and his luck will be more limited than before. Things will gradually become less smooth, and disasters or enemies who want to harm him will appear. The goddess warned him, so better get prepared. Takumi thanked the goddess for protecting him all this time. For future problems, she assured him he would definitely handle them. Meanwhile, in the Holy Empire, Sidonia is vigorously training 3 warriors. They were summoned and initially resisted, but after understanding everything, they gradually became more obedient, practicing swordsmanship every day, aiming to protect the other world. Unlike the 2 backup friends who were led around like dogs on a leash, Akina remains very wary of Elizabeth, as her intuition tells her that girl is very dangerous. Returning from the church, Takumi clumsily tripped right at the doorstep. Sofia tried to run out to help pick up his things, but suddenly noticed he was suspiciously hiding something magical inside Don's treasure. Quick as lightning, still suspicious, Sofia traced him all the way to the forge, and saw Takumi deliberately cut his own hand, then healed it himself like some psycho, muttering the name Maria. Sofia feared he had some inappropriate intentions. Sofia, hot-tempered, burst in to warn him not to touch Maria because she's frail and faints easily when agitated. Sofia only said a few words before collapsing into a coma. Taking her to her room, Takumi was just capable enough today to dispel the curse on Sofia, so he took the chance to perform the spell. The magic circle activated in moments, and Sofia's injured left ear grew back, making Maria so happy she cried tears of joy. In the afternoon, Sofia woke up, and Maria excitedly congratulated her for breaking the curse. Sofia was about to expose men's perversion, but then heard Maria recount how he just saved her. Seeing she didn't believe it, Maria showed a mirror reflecting the light hitting her ear. Just recovered, Sofia felt both happy and confused, then hurried outside to ask Takumi. Come on, no more hiding. Takumi explained that his light magic was still one level short. That blood container was extremely rare and poisonous. He extracted it from Nenung grass, sent by Mr. Bannock to level up. He kept injuring himself, then healing with the magic to gain experience. The reason he muttered Maria's name while doing it was because she was reckless and thought the Nenung grass was trash, so she threw it away. Sofia wondered why he risked his life to save her, and the simple answer was because he had promised to help her break the curse. Tears of joy poured down like rain, and Sofia resolutely knelt to thank men for saving her life beyond measure. Sofia swore absolute loyalty to her master Takumi from now on. Takumi was very happy that Sofia finally understood his good intentions, helping her up. He hoped that from now on they would support each other more. Spending time close naturally helps you understand each other better. Now the two young ladies at Takumi's house can assist him in mass-produced toilets. After a whole week of hard work, the number is temporarily stable, and Mr. Bannock won't overwhelm them with orders anymore. Taking advantage of a few free days, Takumi wants to move on to completing the adventurer mission he left unfinished since last month. While on a little trip, the earthly delicacies are pretty solid. Working alone is a bit tough. Takumi wants to bring Sofia along so she can help out. The saint also wants to bring Maria, but the house has no empty yard. If a thief breaks in, there's nothing to protect. Hearing that her master planned to leave her behind to guard the house, Maria got so sad she cried, feeling lonely in her own home. Better for her to live with Wani-chan Mulam. Takumi tends to pity the weak. When she cries and whines, it's pitiful. Plus, she looks at him with those sparkling eyes. Who could resist? In the end, the hero can't overcome the beauty. He has to nod in agreement for her to stop. Speaking of Maria looking like a useless girly girl, when he tried to read her stats, hey, they actually showed something, including a specialty in playing with throwing daggers learned from the slave trade. Takumi's got a big win here, enough power, but still lacking real combat experience. This trip will likely face many dangers. Sofia volunteered to be the trainer, helping Maria improve her fighting skills. Suddenly remembered everyone still lacked gear, so he suggested anyone wanting something, just say it, he'd handle the housework. Being an alchemist comes in handy. Sofia didn't hesitate to ask for a longsword, a spear about 2.5 meters long, a longbow, and 2 or 3 knives. Just hearing that, you know she's a true professional warrior. Takumi is super proud of his beautiful senpai. Maria's simpler, basically just needs a throwing dagger or two. From what Takumi's experience says, Sofia thought that might not be enough to fight monsters, so she suggested Maria use a spear instead. Sofia would teach her to use it perfectly. Just like that, everyone's weapons were finalized. Takumi stayed up all night to finish making the weapons ASAP, using magical steel ingots. The very next day, the two beauties officially had weapons suitable for training. Takumi worked at full power, consuming a lot of mana. He had to keep drinking energy drinks to recover. Luckily, leveling up recently meant this still wasn't too hard on him. Sofia's wound got wings, and Maria's had a flame pattern added. Now just need to enhance the attack power. Plus automatic repairability makes it perfect. 10 points with no flaws. But Maria's throwing dagger, a fighting maid's weapon, must be compact and easy to handle. UI. Just thinking about her seductive thigh holding it makes this guy's pervy side go wild. He even nearly bled from the nose. Maria's training outside, sweating heavily, but he feels a chill down there, totally weird. Next up is armor crafting. The most important thing is to get the measurements. Now, if he took them himself, they'd all be exposed, so 2 fittings for self-service. Damn, still not confident. If it doesn't fit after finishing, that's a waste. This professional alchemist grandpa had already thought through this awkward case. Opening the magic box, he pulled out 2 mannequins of Maria and Sofia. Now he has something to rely on, guaranteed no fitting mistakes like free transfers. Knowing those two's quality gear, but now he can take measurements himself. He had to admit these 2 girls have huge spirits beyond words. For materials, they need kaiti, Peter's silkworm. As for design, functionality is important, but girls like beauty, so appearance matters just as much. From rich imagination and meticulous care, Takumi quickly finished 2 badass armor sets. They fit perfectly. Even the style and colors are harmoniously flawless. The 2 girls were totally smitten, praising their capable senpai. Maria wondered how he knew all the measurements of the girls' 3 sizes. So Kaide honestly spilled the beans about Takumi having mannequins for fittings. The young man shut her up just in time, or else he'd be targeted by the 2 wives. The weapons fit perfectly. Takumi saw the 2 girls satisfied, their faces beaming. When wives are happy, the husband's happy too. He also made 3 rings as gifts for the group, one each for the 2 girls, embedded with magic. They help with casting spells for a few days. Making such high-quality stuff, Sofia worried he spent a lot of mana. He assured her he's fine, just treating it as extra crafting training, so no worries. Girls, fully equipped, the 3 headed to the Adventurers Guild to register membership for the group of misfits. They also registered as a team. The receptionist subtly reminded the main guy about last month's unfinished quests, making him a bit embarrassed. He promised to repay both months' quests with interest today. The 3 of them were standing waiting for the party confirmation paper when suddenly some filthy, fat-bellied jerks came over trying to pull some perverted crap on the 2. The beauty next to the main character was inwardly scared stiff, but both Maria and Sofia were 2 important girls to him. Takumi couldn't just let the 2 girls get bullied alone. He stepped up to face the whole gang, brave as hell, not afraid of anyone. Seeing Takumi's guts, the bastards got fired up and launched an immediate attack. Takumi quickly turned his whole body into stone. He took down one guy, crippling his left arm and mouth. Hearing the noise, the guildmaster, Barak, peeked out to see what was going on. At first, seeing the fat-bellied guys injured, he thought Takumi's group had caused trouble and was about to scold them, but luckily the receptionist witnessed everything. Coming forward to clarify helped the whole group clear their names. Still, the injuries were real, so Takumi needed to give the guildmaster a proper explanation. The truth was he just stood there taking the hits. No one touched anyone. He was honest about it. He just added some diamond bonus to the coal when turning it into protective stone armor, so no wonder their arms broke but felt light. Understanding Takumi was a good guy, the guildmaster dropped the case and let the 2 beautiful girls be in a low-level party. Of course, they couldn't avoid pervy jerks like before, so the receptionist suggested an exception to let everyone level up. Although Takumi was straightforward, liked fairness, and didn't want to cheat, instead of a sudden level up, he wanted to complete guild missions fast to level up by actual skill. His 2 wives agreed with him on this. Both promised to do their best to support him so the party could transform quickly. On day 1, the 3 were assigned to kill goblins, collect goblin herbs, and gather 10 herbs based on a report from isekai'd. Eid scouted, and the 3 confirmed there were currently 4 monsters hiding in the grass based on years of combat experience. Sofia volunteered to slaughter the first 2. Min and Maria took one each, sharing evenly so no one felt left out. No matter which one they faced, the 3 always finished it off. But it seemed weird since the group kept encountering monsters. The number of monsters was apparently way higher than the guild's estimate. Sofia said there might be a medium-sized farm nearby. Goblins are usually led by a general-level boss, a C-rank monster. To take down a farm led by one, you need at least 4 D-rank players, maybe more. Right now, we're severely understaffed. Sofia suggested using her spirit magic, Takumi's attribute magic, plus Maria's earth magic for a wide-area surprise attack to reduce their numbers first. Sofia believed just the 3 of them could wipe out that farm. Takumi hated fighting. Just hearing that made him scared stiff. But look at Sofia and Maria, so fired up. Those 2 don't seem scared at all, but I'm scared to death. Next to Takumi, Kid suddenly felt a strange sensation, like he was about to evolve, with bad omens approaching. Takumi had to open the space box and let her rest inside. At the goblin nest, the number must be in the hundreds, but all low level, so easy to deal with. Sofia set a perfect plan with the other 2 casting wind, magic, and chaotic blades, burning down the entire nest. The goblins that escaped bravely charged to attack the enemies. Sofia was on another level compared to them, so whoever charged got killed. Takumi was worse at fighting than alchemy, but using all his strength, he still managed to make them pay dearly. Exhausted all day and night, returning with a pile of magic stones, the 3 sat panting. Fighting really drains you. The receptionist was shocked that a low-rank party had this level of skill, so he called them in through the back door for the guildmaster to talk. That goblin spot normally requires C rank to clear. The important point was repeated 3 times until the main nodded all 3 times. Only then did he believe these kids were pretty decent, sending 3 generations of goblins to the afterlife. Half a day later, Kaede was reborn and popped out to greet everyone. Normally disgusting as a spider, but now going through puberty with flesh and skin, so cute. Maria, who loves girls, immediately hugged her because she was just too adorable. The cheese stick then reviewed the team's haul full evidence and proof, so the guild would provide rewards matching the amount of magic stones. Also, Takumi was promoted to E rank, Sofia and Maria to F rank. Today, Maria asked Min if she had any leftover fabric, wanting to borrow some. Usually, everyone uses Kaide's silk to sew what Maria needed. That fabric was too luxurious. There was men's fabric, but the saint was curious about what she was sewing, saying if needed he could design it for her. Hearing that, the girl blushed deeply and said she and Wani-chan Sofia were missing some sexy lingerie. Unlike the shy girl, the guys stayed cool and asked what style she wanted. Maria quickly sketched the designs the muses usually wore. Takumi thought it looked so ugly it could offend demons, so he immediately used a pen to show her what a real design should be. After finishing the drawing and showing Maria, her face changed drastically. He thought she didn't like it, but she was actually super thrilled. She immediately asked the guy to sew a few sets for her to wear. Tonight outside, Kaidi informed them that Bannock-sama had come to visit but got scared silly by Kid, the spider-headed guy, frothing at the mouth. After he recovered from his first shock, they asked why he had come today. Bannock-sama informed them the Lord wanted to meet. Because of the toilet-based project, Bannock-sama usually promised to protect Takumi from the Empire's people. It was all thanks to the Lord's backing. Basically, he was their faction's boss, so meeting face-to-face made cooperating on future missions easier. Upon arrival, the Lord bowed deeply and thanked the talented alchemist for creating the amazing VFC artifact. It's both fragrant and clean, infused with purifying water. Thanks to it, the plague hasn't broken out recently. Plus, the military campaigns helped strengthen alliances. Previously, his soldiers went to battle several times but were crushed and returned empty-handed. Now, thanks to the guy's righteous intervention, the people enjoy peaceful lives. The Lord was very grateful. The downside is the guy's fame is growing too much, so the Empire started keeping an eye on him. He advised Takumi to be careful and said to ask for anything needed, promising support both materially and spiritually. Making new allies made men happy too. But first, they had to sew lingerie before the wives got impatient. Kid understood his master's intent and provided a bunch of high-quality silk. Locked in the workshop for 3 days and nights, Min drained his mana completely. The finished products were exquisite. Seeing his 2 wives excited over the custom-made pullover shirts made Min happy. All the hard work was worth it. The young man accidentally asked the 2 to try them on so he could see if they fit, making them blush deeply. But if the master requested, the 2 would serve without hesitation. The guy knew he'd slipped up, but still couldn't get the image of them barely clothed out of his head. He instantly felt flushed and had to rush into his room to calm down. But once inside, he kept torturing himself with regret, calling himself an idiot. After missing the chance to admire such a beautiful spring scene, today the main character created the legendary refrigerator. His 3 Meta's wives were thrilled because when opened, it emitted a pleasantly cool aura. Maria was the happiest since thanks to this, she didn't need to go to the market every day but still had fresh ingredients for cooking. Supporting his wife made the main character happy too. However, the saint had to remind them to open it moderately, it would break and he'd have to fix it, which was a hassle with so much going on at home. The saint told his wives to each pick one, and he would take the rest to Bannock-sama to sell wholesale. After this, Takumi wanted to start upgrading the gear from his last fight with the goblins. The young master suddenly realized that going on an adventure without proper preparation meant a one-way trip. Currently, his armor was made of magical steel, but he wanted to switch to midrin and adamantine for better protection. His 2 wives caught the excitement and had no intention of stopping him. If he found it too exhausting alone, his 2 wives were ready to support and protect him anytime. The next morning, he visited the guild to ask about blacksmiths. The receptionist informed him with bad news. In this remote city, there were no blacksmiths with top-tier skills. If absolutely necessary, he should go to the South Star Kingdom and ask the dwarves. Luckily, Han enthusiastically gave him a list of blacksmiths in the Botan outskirts first. Suddenly, Han remembered Min was a brilliant alchemist who, although mana-consuming, could quickly gather ore and craft it himself faster than relying on others. Just in time, a northern town in Bakula Kingdom had dungeons full of midrin and adamantine ore. Still, nothing in life is free for strangers. The condition to enter in mine was to be a member of the Blacksmith Guild. Recently, monsters frequently appeared around there, so if he wanted, Takumi should sneak in through the back too. But if he wants to be faster, he can gather the ore first, then craft it himself. It's quicker than relying on others. Just in time, a town in the northern Bakula Kingdom has a dungeon full of midrin and adamantine ores. Still, nothing in this world is free for strangers. The condition to enter and mine there is that you must be a member of the Blacksmith Guild. Lately, monsters have been appearing around there, so if he wants, he should sneak in through the back door like this, earning guild rewards and freely mining ore while on a mission. Perfect 2 birds with 1 stone. Suddenly, the guildmaster popped out from behind, making him jump. The guy cheerfully announced he brought good news for him. Right now, the hidden outpost is running low on wood this season. Most adventurers rush to hunt black bulls, causing wood gatherers to dwindle significantly. Also, 2 deadly tree monsters from the forest are heading to Horus. To put it simply, the young man realized this guy wants him to hunt those creatures. Actually, he knows you have a bottomless space pouch, so you can definitely carry a large amount and transport it easily. Like this rabbit, it's a perfect 1 arrow, 3 kills shot. Luckily, Takumi often uses fried wood, so he accepted the request from the bald man. Thought he'd be done then, but the guy wanted even more. He asked you to escort a blacksmith heading to Hara's too. These things seem crazy, so just deal with it. A snail can't carry itself, yet it demands to carry stakes for moss. How can you handle that? Takumi suggested he ask the Lion Fang trio, who have plenty of experience. Honestly, those three already took other missions, so it's tough. Right now, the guild is short-handed and he sees you as the most potential candidate. He promised that after completing the mission, you'll be promoted to level D and get a harem. Your household will also benefit. This guild really pushes people hard. With such a generous mission, who'd refuse? Stuck in it now, you agreed to the mission thinking it wouldn't be hard. But was it really? Thought from an old capitalist who likes exploiting others' labor about the travel time. Han said a regular carriage takes about 7 days, but with a demon horse escort it only takes 4 days. Takumi had also heard demon horses are a type of monster, so they run twice as fast as normal horses. Of course, Takumi chose the demon horses to save time. Bad luck struck when the guild only had regular carriages left. Meanwhile, Real, the orange-haired captain of the Lion Fang Guild, walked in. Konnichiwa, little bro. We already reserved the demon horses. Han thought the Lion Fang Guild finished their mission, but if you have to, it's because the trio accidentally killed a bull on the way and didn't want the good meat to spoil, so they brought it back first. Then they immediately resumed their journey. With the guild leader here, the older brothers started complaining about selling bad meat under the facade of quality, clearly protecting the weak, but still careless enough to let a high-level monster appear. What do you mean? The guild leader acted innocent. Nobody knew anything, it was confidential info. People say it to calm the masses. He also promised that when the trio returns, he'll increase their pay fairly, which finally satisfied Rio. Takumi invited Riel to his place tonight. There's a huge hot spring bath for him to soak in. Geez, the kid just scratched right where someone who hasn't bathed all week itches, huh? Riel happily agreed without hesitation. Earlier, Takumi stopped by Bannock's place to ask about borrowing a rare horse. He said he had plenty. On the way back, Takumi made many more amazing refrigerators like this one, so he gave one to the horse and transferred ownership. Takumi was pretty happy, his item was accepted. But don't open it too much, old man, or you'll waste money on repairing the motor again. At home, Maria was preparing dinner. Heidi stayed up all night and slept all day, snoring loudly upstairs. Only Sofia noticed the master hadn't come home yet and started to worry. She blamed herself for being careless, thinking she should have gone along to ensure the master's safety. At Bannock's place until late, Takumi felt guilty that Riel had a tough journey and was exhausted from escorting him all afternoon. Riel said he was fine, so don't worry too much. Then Riel noticed a strong aura in the distance. With his current skill level, fighting the approaching person was hopeless. Retreating is the best strategy. Riel immediately dragged Takumi and ran like crazy. The hooded man's moves were too fast. He blocked Riel and kicked him hard, thinking he was a thief. But when he removed the hood, Takumi was shocked to find out it was little Sofia, who worried after waiting and not seeing her master, ran off and accidentally met these two wanderers. Thinking Takumi was captured by the orange-haired guy caused a dangerous misunderstanding. They realized they had just fought the wrong person. Both master and servant hurriedly knelt to apologize to Riel, begging him to forgive the innocent. Arrived at Takumi's mansion, Riel was stunned, mouth wide open, amazed that such a young boy already had a grand home with a proper wife and kids. The young man quickly asked for a blessing. He learned these two kids were just mercenaries bought back, not friends, as the saints seemed to think. Seizing the chance to find a partner, he asked if the two wanted to find their life's destination. Both honestly shook their heads, because their hearts belong only to their master. No cheating allowed. Riel was so sad he almost collapsed to the ground. Both of my teams already have wives, so I'm the only lonely one, feeling totally down. Just then, the guy spots Kaide after she evolved. She's so cute. I asked if she remembered me, and she said, "No way." It made the guy want to flip his pants onto his head in embarrassment. While waiting for the guests to soak, I also told the two wives about the new mission we got. The three of them know Chan is a rare treasure, so no objections anywhere is fine as long as the two can go with their master. Saying goodbye to longtime bachelor Riel, the whole family went to bed early to stay sharp for tomorrow. Before that, Takumi still hadn't forgotten to upgrade the sword he just picked up from Mr. Bannock. With such a weird shape, it's hard to use. Takumi quickly used alchemy to shrink it down, even though it drained a bit of mana, but for the family's safety, he had no choice but to accept it. The next morning, Mr. Bannock arrived with the horse right on time. Takumi peeked inside the carriage to greet the blacksmith who was escorting them, so both sides wouldn't feel so unfamiliar on the road. Since the Maria Slave Trade Guild had taken care of demon horses before, having a kid as a driver put everyone at ease. Just as the three set off, Han and the guild leader got news that monsters in the Death Forest were acting up fiercely. Now, chasing demon horses with ordinary horses is like running with your legs tied. They simply can't catch up. So the two prayed that the Men family's good deeds would bring them luck, or rather, live well and be blessed. Meanwhile, at Mr. Ba's place, a royal official proactively visited to personally thank them for creating the purification toilet that finally solved the long-standing sewage pollution issue. If he couldn't meet Maine today, he'd ask Bannock to relay a message. Takumi should be careful because rumors have reached Sidonia and the Holy Emperor's people will definitely be watching him. At the Holy Empire, Akon's two friends were still foolishly training hard for those guys, while Akon smartly knew these people weren't as kind as they appeared. Arriving at the Death Forest, men set up a protective barrier for the blacksmith, then led the family into the forest to hunt. Qian had never seen Qian before. Men asked Sofia how to tell it apart from other trees. Sofia pointed to a tree on the right in front of them, with strange slash marks on its trunk, signs of long life. The three would use that sign to find it precisely. Qian spotted the first one, and they immediately formed a battle formation. Takumi took on the job of chopping it down, while behind him, little Maria drew her sword to cut the rough roots for support, so they finished quickly. Takumi was pretty surprised that gathering 10 was too easy, but Sofia corrected him. The real challenge is just starting. Asterisk. As soon as she finished, the surrounding monsters swarmed the team. They were furious because the fools dared to invade their territory and slaughtered many of their comrades one by one. It took a lot of time. Sofia urged everyone to quickly use magic for efficient crowd control. Sofia swiftly used spirit magic to push them back, giving Maria a chance to suppress them with earth magic, while Kaida used spider silk to block their vision, letting Takumi easily use decomposition magic to take them down and pack them into a space box. Everything was peaceful until a giant bug appeared and violently attacked the group. Takumi tried slashing it a few times and realized it could regenerate infinitely. They needed to destroy its core with a precise strike to send it to the afterlife. Sofia suggested enchanting his sword with fire, chopping it into pieces. While it couldn't regenerate fast enough, Takumi blinked and stabbed its core with a critical hit, successfully killing it. After the bugs were sealed, red fruits dropped that looked quite unusual. Sofia, knowing everything, introduced them as magic apples, very rare and useful. Since they had a bottomless box, the guys spent some time collecting and storing them to eat later and replenish mana. After nights of hard work like this, why not finish the herb quest and send all three to Boston to take on a mole extermination mission to get into the mine? The next morning, while collecting materials, a mole suddenly popped out from underground. Everyone thought it was dangerous, but under Men and Sofia's guidance, a single strike killed it instantly. The group was amazed at how fast they defeated the monster, so the guy explained he just took advantage of its long-term night-dwelling nature. Since it lived underground, when it surfaced, its vision was blurred like a blind person. That's the perfect time to strike. Even the blacksmith admired the kid's infinite IQ, while sensitive little Maria was heartbroken because she didn't get to show off before the fight was over. Bringing back the rare ore pile, the blacksmith taught him some basic steps on how to combine the two types of ore together. After days of trailing his master, he successfully merged the two into one, and now just needs to bring it back to craft the armor to complete the mission. Getting to wear the upgraded level 2 armor made the girls super happy because it was flawless with nothing to criticize. When asked about the Thunderman tool he just made, he proudly showed it off in front of the two beauties. It's supposed to boost speed, but the tricky part is he still hasn't mastered the controls and ended up crashing into a wall. So embarrassing. Luckily, those two pretended not to notice to spare him the shame. Besides his spirit-infused spear and the fire magic spear he just upgraded, Sofia also asked him to make a sturdy shield for her, promising to loyally protect him in return. Making the shield was nothing big. Since we're all family, I told her next time, just ask if she wants something. If she insists on strict give and take, that's just sulking. From above, the goddess, watching Takumi grow stronger, felt relieved, knowing the upcoming troubles would come looking for him. After training enough to grow wings and feathers, the Empire officially sent Akira and Yamato into battle. Over time, they brainwashed the two with dark teachings, stripping away their humanity and making them blindly obey the Empire's orders. Rumors about the Bacula Kingdom using magic to purify wastewater quickly reached the Holy Empire of Sidonia. They sent envoys demanding to see this generous gift, but King Bacilla refused. He lied, saying the goddess bestowed this blessing on the land for all to enjoy, mocking the idea that such a priceless gift should be split. Sidonia must be out of their mind. Gentle words aren't working. Sidonia started threatening to support Bakila's enemies to pressure the emperor into backing down, but this time he was determined to stand firm. The armies lent by the Holy Empire still belong to them. The king isn't foolish enough to trade away his alchemist talents for someone else's goods. Only what's truly his is eternal. No matter if they want to withdraw troops, he won't hold them back. After saying that, the envoy was speechless, his face frozen in shock. Whenever he's free, Bannock stops by Men's place to drink free tea. He also recounted the king's decisive negotiation from the other day. Takumi was pretty worried about the confrontation. What if it causes lasting enmity with the church and Sidonia? Too much tension might spark a war, which is totally unlike Takumi's usual chill attitude. Bannock calmly explained that besides the Holy Light Church, there's actually another church. You should know the goddess once mentioned there's a constructive church, worshipping the goddess Nolin. While aware of two sects, No one really knows who the Holy Light Church worships. According to Banix, they worship the goddess Anat bitch. Also, the Bakula Kingdom guarantees religious freedom, so there are many longtime followers of the Constructive Church. Furthermore, the Constructive Church's priests only charge a small fee called a sincerity offering to use healing magic. In contrast, priests of the Holy Light Church demand hefty fees, backed by the Holy Empire of Sidonia, which protects their abuses. His gut told him it's best to avoid that mess, or risk getting caught up in some nasty trouble. Back to the main point. Today, Banix announced that after successfully crafting the convenient level freezing refrigerator, the kingdom's king wants to invite him to the palace soon. Seeing men hesitate, Bannock understood immediately and banged the table, bluntly saying the king won't be angry if he declines. That desperate face? No anger? Come on, old man, no way to refuse now. That night, he told his two wives about the upcoming trip to the capital, Bakalatos. After all, the king protected him from the Holy Empire's people, so refusing wouldn't be polite. Of course, the two girls agreed because they love traveling far. They set the travel dates, and Maria volunteered to prepare enough supplies for everyone. Meanwhile, the main guy wanted to make new cloaks for his two wives. He asked Bannock to get him some dark attribute magic stones. With those, hiding their presence inside the cloaks would be much easier. In other words, weaving an invisibility cloak for stealth purposes. Using those, his two wives could avoid attracting bad attention or creepy guys bothering them. After discussing, Maria and Sofia went out to buy some necessary items. Both girls felt men seemed to underestimate himself a bit. Besides being good-looking, he also possesses the talent of a highly capable producer. Yet he's humble, never arrogant, or bullying the weak. Sofia said this, and Maria teased with a face like, "Seems like you really understand the master now." Asterisk. No way, she's totally crushing on him. Sofia blushed instantly, turning red like a tomato. Her cheeks flushed more than with blush, as she clarified she was just listing the master's good points. But who'd believe that? Maria wasn't surprised she's 100% in love. At the main church, Maine prayed to meet the goddess Nolin, but she immediately demanded offerings and sacrifices. Seeing Maine empty-handed, she let it slide, but if she made him fetch those offerings now, that'd be harsh. The goddess already knew Maine was about to go to Bakalatos, and came today to pray for the family's safety. Taking the chance to get some answers, Maine asked a few questions he'd been wondering about. First, Takumi was curious if goddess Anat of the Holy Empire, Sidonia, was the same kind of goddess as her. Nolin got mad and loudly claimed, "I am the one and only." Asterisk. Anyone else pretending to be a goddess besides me is a fraud. As for who Anat is and what she looks like, wait for the right time, and you'll find out. Recently, he noticed the Holy Empire Sidonia approaching him more aggressively. His blessings were running out, and being a young man far from home with nowhere to turn was scary, so he had to ask the goddess for protection plans. But secrets couldn't be revealed. The only thing the goddess told him was that nothing could affect his blessings. Only when their expiration date arrives will they fade away from him. As for the warriors summoned by Sidonia, none had come to cause trouble yet. The goddess explained that when sending him, she deliberately twisted time a bit. She sent him back 1 year before the warrior summoning incident. So, slowly, in a few months, even without summoning, they'd find their way to him. At the end of the meeting, the goddess refused to answer more questions and sent him home. Then she reminded him to bring tiramisu next time or she'd sulk and refuse to meet. Knocked out by the goddess, Takumi woke up to find the heavenly realm had disappeared. Although a few questions were dodged, knowing that bad luck wouldn't reduce his blessings reassured him a lot. A few days later, the cloaks for the two girls his wives were finished, and he had them try them on. Both rated full 5 stars because from design to function, they were absolutely amazing. Takumi also praised the two beauties because seriously, they looked great in anything. This made Maria shy. Next, the announcement was that for the trip, he would build a brand new horse carriage. Normally, when going out little, they could borrow here and there. For long distances, owning one would give them full control and independence on every trip, avoiding reliance. The black guy at home lacked horses, so he still had to borrow from the guild. Maria suddenly remembered why this place was called the Adventurer's City. It made sense. Immediately, she led Sofia and Takumi into the forest to hunt rare horses. Near Boston is the Forest of Death, home to many monsters. Among them exist creatures much faster and stronger than normal horses. There are unicorns, long-maw dragon horses, and even griffins, especially when the long-maw appears. The demon horses are just legends. Their speed and endurance surpass demon horses significantly. Though called long-maw, they're not related to dragons, but look more like horses. Their difference is a rhinoceros-like horn and bodies covered with dragon scales. Lost in conversation, everyone kept getting excited by little Kaede. Everyone saw the spider girl more enthusiastic than ever, probably happy, because she knew she'd get little siblings to boss around soon. Hearing this, Maria felt indignant since only Kaide's adorably allowed to have little siblings, no one else. Just then, a lone wolf suddenly dashed out from the bushes to steal the spotlight. Sofia tried to draw her sword to send it off, but it passed the group like the wind so fast. Remembering the upgraded cloak, Takumi explained it must be the invisibility mode that made it impossible to see them. He planned to just wear the cloak to the long-maw's location. Sofia firmly refused. Instead of casually relaxing there, she thought it would be better if all three took off their armor to fight and gain more experience. Even little Maria, so aggressive, joined in agreement. The majority of the limbs outnumbered the minority, so men no longer had the right to decide on this matter. In no time, she took down a bull. Maria and men were amazed by Sofia's incredible speed. It seems like she's getting stronger every day. Speaking of which, over there is a whole pile of wood ready to be chopped for making wagons perfect. If no one claims it, I'll take it. Immediately, Maria grabbed a knife and started cutting the buffalo meat to freeze it. Meanwhile, Men and Sofia were busy collecting free wood, each grabbing whatever they could, leaving Kaede helplessly shouting horse. No one listened, so she decided to head into the forest first to kill time. Going deeper inside, she found many Janet corpses scattered everywhere. Suddenly, she spotted a one-horned horse injured. Kind-hearted Kaede rushed to help. The horse was too wary of strangers and shocked her with an electric strike, almost knocking her out. She suddenly remembered how Takumi once treated her during their first meeting. Kaede tried to convince the little horse to follow her to meet its owner. Her master is kind and talented. He can definitely help it recover. At that moment, two scarab beetle monsters appeared behind Kaede. Judging by the horse's agitated behavior, those monsters were probably the cause of its injury. Kaede quickly used spider silk to tie them up, then smashed them to bits on the spot. Unexpectedly, that attack accidentally summoned their entire family to come check things out. 2 against many was no match. Kaede had to create a spider silk barrier to protect herself and the horse inside. Bad luck, those guys have really strong jaws. They were biting through the silk strands outside. Kaede, weak and scared, started using a magic ring to call men for help, but there was no response. She feared her master was so happy gathering wood, he forgot to come back first. Heartbroken, she began to cry and accepted her fate of dying here. Luckily, right when they destroyed the cocoon, men arrived just in time. The young man gently patted her head to reassure her. Kid was moved, hugging him tightly, relieved Takumi didn't abandon her. She thought he would leave her all alone in this distant place. Takumi apologized for frightening her. It was all because the thick spider silk accidentally broke the connection between their two rings. Noticing his magic weakening, the young man decided to trace the magic source here. He then spotted the horse behind. Maria happily confirmed it was the longma they had been searching for. Now they needed to heal it first, but the horse was very wary of strangers and refused to be treated. This place is full of monsters. Staying too long would be dangerous, but Kaede desperately wanted to bring the horse along, so men had to open a space box and shove both of them inside to take home first, dealing with it later. Soon after storing 2 magical beasts in the space box, his mana quickly ran dry. Takumi hurried to bring recovery water to replenish it immediately but was still a step too late. His whole body lost strength and collapsed to the ground. More than half a day passed, men still hadn't woken up, and everyone anxiously worried. Even unconscious, Takumi maintained the space box to protect Kaede and the longma safely inside. Now they had to get those two out before treatment could begin. This might be a bit extreme, but Sofia couldn't think of a better way. The beauty calmly leaned down and kissed Men's hand. Maria automatically shoveled rice into her mouth, almost to the point of overeating, eyes shining like stars. This was Sofia tracking Men's magic to transmit a message to Kaede. After calling repeatedly, luckily Kaede finally heard the voice and replied. Realizing the urgency, Kaede promised to persuade him, Malong, to come outside temporarily so their master could heal his magic. After getting them out, Sofia planned to buy some herbs for the monster from Banix. Seeing this, Maria urged her to stay with their master in case something happened halfway. I'll go instead and make sure everything's handled properly. In his dream, Takumi clearly heard everyone calling him to wake up. He realized he'd been asleep too long and it was time to get up. The boy jumped up to find Sofia sleeping beside the bed with her hand tightly holding his. Sofia slowly woke up, and the beauty instantly burst into tears of happiness seeing him awake and safe. Man, thanks everyone for taking care of me all day long. Then I went to the garden to heal Tsubaki's wounds. Thanks to Kaede's gentle persuasion, Tsubaki is now as calm as Hello Kitty. When setting up the magic spirit, Takumi was very happy that Tsubaki accepted the treatment from him. Before long, all 4 legs were completely healed with no pain left. Thanks to everyone's efforts, our house now officially has a new friend, a new member. Calling him Horse might scare others, so Takumi decided to give Tsubaki a pretty fancy name. Everyone agreed the name was great. Then the whole family ended a tiring day with a warm, joyful dinner in the freezing winter. At the slave market in the capital, the shop owner is introducing a Beast Tribe girl to customers. When asked what she can do, Ziva swore, promised, and guaranteed she's hardworking to make up for any lack. She will try her best to learn whatever her master demands with ambition. Truly a precious girl. But even though she's good, the owner regrets because he needs a mysterious element with innate power. After the customers left, the owner comforted her not to rush good and evil meet their fate, and one day her true master will surely appear. Every time rejected, her master said that phrase, making her sad. Waiting is happiness, huh? How long must she wait for her master? Not to mention, her family is very poor. She left behind her little sister and old mother at home to work far away. Before leaving, Jiva promised to send money home, but now she struggles to support herself, let alone provide her mother and sister a comfortable life. At Takumi's place, he's still diligently working day and night building the carriage. He heard the adventurer say he needs to buy some necessary materials tomorrow. Sofia can't help but worry. Just recently, he accepted orders for healing potions and a refrigerator from Mr. Bannock, and now he's staying up late making the carriage too. I'm really worried. Sofia reminded him not to push too hard, or he'll end up dead. Then he kept insisting he's fine and told his two wives not to worry too much. When he arrived at the adventurer's hall, Takumi heard a pretty intense argument. Asked the handler Rama about it. He said some guy claimed to have seen a monster appear on the outskirts. However, the guild hasn't received any damage reports, so they haven't sent anyone to deal with it yet. Just gossip the world's waiting for. The guy isn't eager anyway. Today he came because he wants to add another creature to his pet collection. Han is pretty excited because if this guy can handle a deadly spider, the second monster must be worth every penny. When he dragged Ra out, Takumi almost scared Han unconscious. When will AI guilds recall all dragon horses under their command like this? The guy loudly accused the hall during his complaint. The monster he mentioned is the black dragon from Mengoigoika's territory, causing trouble. The badass guildmaster invited him inside for tea to settle this public disturbance outside. Sofia returned from Mrs. Mulan's place. Today she followed Maria to buy supplies, and stopped by Mulan's to ask if she had any slaves skilled in alchemy to support the main character's work. Sadly, alchemy is very rare in the guild nowadays. There's no AI for it at all. Mulan suggested Sofia try asking in the capital. Trade and commerce are more open there. The chance to buy a slave practicing this skill is easier. They went to where Maria was waiting. The two finalized a few more orders. Maria noticed their master has been exhausted for days and needs lots of nourishment to recover. Sofia didn't expect Maria to recognize this painful truth. Both are clueless about crafting and can't help their master, which is sad. Hearing this, Maria commented that Big Sis has changed lately. Sofia found it confusing. Mulan just said the same to her earlier. Maria confirmed that since signing the contract, she's shown much gentler expressions. Remember, back at the slave market, she kept a cold and distant demeanor. It's impressive to be praised. Sofia was shy, but the girl was sharp. Maria urged her to hurry to the blacksmith so the young master wouldn't have to wait. When they arrived, they found him snoring peacefully like a baby. After finishing the carriage, the blacksmith greatly admired Takumi's ambition and relentless hard work, but work must be balanced with rest. He's already as skinny as a stick if he keeps staying up late. One day he might just drop dead. The next day, Takumi excitedly showed off his impressive results to his two wives. He wanted to ask the Longma to pull the carriage. After Katie relayed the message, the horse immediately agreed. Okay, little goat. Inside, Maria and Sofia were wide-eyed and stunned at how spacious it was. Thon Thang asked Takumi to use magic to expand the house, the kitchen, everything from A to Z. Hello, AI? I swear, I almost thought you carried the whole house onto the carriage. In the excitement, Tsubaki and Kaide steered the carriage flying through the town, asking the kids if there was anywhere they wanted to improve. Maria suggested attaching a blade to the side. Takumi wondered, isn't that just to scare monsters? No, little one, it just looks way cooler that way. But in this case, Grandpa and I refuse. It's crazy that you even thought of it. They arrived where Bannock and the Lord were waiting, meeting the Wolf Fang gang here. Takumi was thrilled to be with such a reputable trio of big brothers, felt super safe. But the big brothers didn't even know who was reliable or not yet. Compared to the Hadong lion cubs, these guys were still green and inexperienced. Word got around that Takumi had just finished crafting a hot item. Bannock immediately demanded to see it. It was exactly like the harem set. He was nearly shocked senseless by the young man's massive setup. The decor of the carriage showed a merchant who truly valued talent. He immediately demanded the youth craft a few more at a sky-high price 10 million yens each, which shocked Takumi hard. Later, the Lord had to remind Bannock to tone it down so they could finish meeting the king and sign the contract. 30 minutes later, the whole group officially departed for the royal capital. Inside the carriage, the Lord admitted that since Min joined and contributed, the town had visibly transformed. However, talented people rarely live long because intelligence breeds envy among petty folks. As someone trusted, the Lord recognized his responsibility to protect the nation's talents at all costs. It would be easier in the capital, but if they encountered the Holy Empire's people, things could get tricky. Overall, he and everyone had to be extremely vigilant on this trip to ensure a safe return home. Meanwhile, in the Holy Empire, Akan was secretly investigating the goddess, Anat. Ancient texts recorded that the goddess, Anat, created humans according to her imagination. Later, to support humanity, the kind goddess created animals, elves, dwarves, and spirits, ranking them below humans. After a grueling 3 days, they arrived at Bacalados, the royal capital. Takumi felt happy because the journey went smoothly without encountering any nasty monsters. The Wolf Fang gang continued the story, no matter how many six-armed monsters attacked. With two wives backing him, they immediately got wrecked in cold sweat. Basically, from the start of this trip, there was nothing to worry about. As everyone rested, Bannock suggested presenting the king with a finely crafted carriage to showcase their alchemy skills, but making one now probably wouldn't be ready in time. He told Takumi to stay calm and craft it after the meeting. However, that would waste time transporting it to the palace. Takumi promised to get to work tomorrow and ensure the king had a carriage before the audience. The streets were burning, so they needed a spacious workshop. Bannock understood immediately, whatever's difficult, leave it to Bannock. He had a few empty plots ready. He made one call, and soon real estate agents swarmed in. Knowing Takumi's nature would drain his energy on this trip, the two wives were extremely worried, but knowing Takumi's determination, they couldn't stop him. In return, he had to find a new slave to assist with alchemy work. This guild only accepted living with daughters, so boys were automatically out. Takumi was as helpless as his two meticulous wives but respected his head of household so much he agreed to search for someone tomorrow. The next morning, while Takumi went to buy a slave, Maria panicked because Kaide had disappeared all morning without a trace. In the morning, Sofia overheard Kaide wanted to go hang out at the library, so she went to check there. Just entering, she heard 7 screams echoing from afar. Sofia hurried over and saw that the spider girl really had reported it. The one Kaide scared into peeing herself was the unlucky slave. Sofia scolded Kaide harder than a slap to the face before helping her up. Then, on behalf of her family, she apologized to the unfortunate victim. It was the first time seeing a beautiful elf, and the girl stood frozen, staring without blinking. Only when Sofia asked if she was okay did she snap out of her daze. The beauty looked down at the book that had fallen on the floor. Reva quickly picked it up and expressed her unmatched love for books, especially those about alchemists. She was totally obsessed. Especially through the conversation, Sofia realized all of Reva's magic was self-taught, without any formal AI training. It was almost time to meet the new master. Ziva hurriedly said goodbye to the beauty and rushed to the meeting point. Coincidentally, that new master was none other than Takumi from our place. Sofia knew the recruitment location and came to check out the new recruits. Upon entering, she was surprised to find it full of familiar, introverted people. Jiva couldn't introduce herself or her strengths. Fortunately, after a brief chat, Sofia immediately stepped in to say Jiva was quite skilled at self-learning magic through reading, grasping the core principles. Min asked if she ever read alchemy books. Oh man. Like-minded people meeting each other. The two young men started spitting rapid-fire rap about the latest hot alchemy book release. After a perfectly matched conversation, Min took the initiative to give a test to see if she could spot the mistakes in the picture. The only hope suddenly vanished into thin air. No matter how hard she thought, she couldn't find the answer because her hometown was poor and never used honey in concoctions. Tears streamed down, thinking the game was over. But unexpectedly the boss welcomed her to join his team. No way! Honey was the answer. This is insane, guys. As for salary support, Takumi would pay both a base salary and performance bonuses. If any task was done well, generous tips were guaranteed. She didn't demand money but had a small wish: to send her entire monthly salary home to support her mother and younger sibling. Once the money was in her pocket, she could do whatever she wanted, but if she didn't save it as a safety net, Takumi feared she would be a slave forever. Sofia thought this was good because if she kept learning the craft, once she graduated, she could find jobs on her own and not worry about having no way to survive. Above all, serving a good master for life was something everyone wanted. Bringing the new member home, Maria and Kaide were excited to greet her and everything. Seeing everyone warmly welcome the Beast Girl made her happy because this was the first time she didn't have to hear harsh criticism. After being rejected many times by the Holy Empire, she grew bitter and wanted to teach the disliked ones a lesson with force. However, the princess appeared, advising the king not to act rashly. She planned to spread fake rumors to defame the church, then leak the dirty secrets during the audience, ensuring the holy followers would rage and not let anyone insult them. This move of using others' power to kill was truly fierce. The king agreed instantly, like father, like son, equally cruel. At the mansion, well provided for, Takumi used adamantine alloy to craft a flawless carriage frame. Veva admired her talented master with wide eyes, wondering when she would be able to master such complex structures. Takumi assured her it would be soon, because those structures were no more complicated than a twisted candy, little one. Especially with her curious, fascinated eyes watching Takumi work, she believed with such eagerness to learn, success was only a matter of time. From afar, Sofia witnessed the young master being helped by a compatible ally, smiling with satisfaction. Thinking from now on the young master wouldn't have to overwork himself, she felt happy too. Delivering the finished carriage, completed in 3 days and 2 nights, to the palace, an old man with white hair approached, asking who was the owner of the carriage. Hearing the boy say he made it himself, the old man was very surprised. Rumors said Takumi the alchemist was very skilled in crafting, and now he could see it firsthand, truly a legend of youthful talent. Takumi was praised and felt proud, but wait, how did the old man know his name? Just then, the Lord and Mr. Bannock also rushed over to pay respects to His Majesty. It turned out the old man, who had been rambling nonsense like a stranger, was actually the king, the ruler of this country. Guys, when the army commits treason, it's a capital offense. Heads roll and blood spills immediately. Takumi was terrified and hurriedly knelt down to beg the king's forgiveness. However, the king wanted to reward him instead of punishing him. Write something about the royal wastewater treatment issue. I truly thank you a lot because it has helped the people live better lives. Originally, he planned to throw a grand party with generous rewards, but at this sensitive time, doing so would attract unwanted attention. Takumi understood the king's meaning and bowed in gratitude for protecting him from the spear of the Holy Emperor of Sidonia. However, protecting the safety of his people is the lifelong pursuit of an emperor. He told Takumi not to be so formal, then invited everyone into the palace to receive their well-deserved rewards and generous gifts. Takumi and his whole family continued their journey home a few days after returning to Boston from the royal capital. Takumi went from barely having enough food and clothes to suddenly rising like a kite caught in the wind. Now with money overflowing in his pockets, he decided to buy the villa he was renting to live peacefully with his wives and kids without the fear of being kicked out suddenly. Sitting down to discuss monthly salaries, both Sofia and Maria said they didn't need 3 meals a day or new clothes every day. They were too busy chasing after wild ducks to spend much money. Occasionally, the kids would ask Takumi for a little pocket money, and that was enough, no need for more. Still, it was assumed everyone should save, so when the contract ends, they have money to support themselves. However, since Sofia and Maria have longer lifespans, the two vowed to protect Takumi with their lives forever. But life is long, and time is plenty. Until they die, as long as Takumi supports them daily, there's no need to worry yet. At the Holy Empire, they started spreading slanderous rumors against the Church of Light, accusing them of robbing and crying wolf. The empress began manipulating and planting false information into their minds. The ignorant followers blindly believed it, assuming it was done by the arrogant kingdom of Ba. They swore to make those disrespectful ones pay dearly. This made the empress very pleased as her evil plan unfolded exactly as intended. A few days later, as per Jiva's request, she was guided to register for a membership card at the Adventurers Guild. Han enthusiastically guided her, and in no time, she got a cool rank D card. Han then suggested they think of a team name since her family basically holds a top spot here, and being nameless felt odd. He remembered the Lion Fang trio had a pretty badass name. However, since Takumi's main job was pretending to be Kim, not chasing the adventurer path, he wasn't very interested and tried to refuse until the guild leader found him and cornered him. No matter how much Takumi protested, the leader didn't even listen. A once-in-a-thousand-years mystery, the leader wasn't stupid enough to let him slip away. Now acting bossy, the leader forced Takumi to come up with a classy, fancy name immediately. He took the guy to a wide training ground. Every time he thought of a lame name, the leader shoved something spicy into his mouth. Somehow, all the names ended up related to toilets and trash, so damn embarrassing. Riva standing nearby trembled naturally. The poor guy's suffering was brutal. She almost wanted to quit the damn job. In the end, unable to think of a decent name, Takumi went home bruised and battered, with little Maria helping to apply medicine. Sofia was boiling mad watching the bald old man torture her husband. Good thing Takumi stopped her, or this time next year would have been the man's death anniversary. As for naming the team, too short was no good. Too long was also a problem, so he had to ask his harem for help. But like attracts like, their suggestions were even worse than he expected. Well, when all else fails, even heaven gives up. At the Holy Empire, the two warriors were still training diligently but were increasingly getting corrupted, which disappointed Akan greatly. When she refused to hang out with them, she was called a coward. Akira even mocked her harshly, saying she was worried about a servant beastman girl, typical woman's weak mindset. Just like before summoning, Akan didn't get angry at these endlessly dumb people, just said they were pathetic and walked away. This made the other guy furious. Grinding his teeth and continuing to study the goddess Aneth, Akan discovered she aimed for equal life among all beings, with humans as supreme, so she created beastmen and elves to serve humans. However, from what she heard from a traveling merchant, the doctrine of the Creator's Church is that all races are children of the goddess Nolin. The three kids were summoned by the country ruled by the Holy Light Church, so their role is what the church wants the kid and his two clueless friends to do under the guise of world equality. A few days later, the men gave Reva the team ring along with new weapons for the expedition. Without proper gear, it's a death sentence. Takumi examined carefully and found that the magic metal-wrapped hammer suited her best. K.A.E.D.E. saw everyone naturally had weapons and got jealous, so to be fair, Takumi pulled out a perfect set of claws as a gift for her. She uses the thread class, so compact gear suits her best. Then they learned Ziva also helped craft their weapons, and the little one happily thanked the two of them a lot. At the Adventurers Guild, the guild master dragged the main out for some tough love. They hadn't come up with a cool team name yet. Takumi feared that if this kept up, Sofia would get mad and cause a disaster, but unexpectedly, she just focused on spotting the main's weak points, loose defense, sloppy attacks. No wonder he kept getting wrecked. Seeing her treat this like a training session to make him stronger, the main's heart hurt like a knife, tears streaming, but no one stepped in to help. During the break, Han pulled out his psychological manipulation tactics again. Every trial involves escort missions, and as usual, they level up immediately after finishing. Takumi's got orders piling up at home, so he's not keen, but the other three love hunting, so he reluctantly nodded in agreement. This time, the whole group escorted the steward from the Bannock's trade guild to the next city to import fresh milk and string cheese. It had been a long time since they ate authentic Japanese dishes, so they craved it badly, thinking to stock up and fill the fridge after the mission. The steward felt lucky to have Takumi's family's support because no monster could stand against his harem. Speaking of Cao Cao, here he comes. The Lin clan and Wolfpack were fighting over territory, blocking the whole path. Such a hassle. No need for the beauties to step in. Tsubaki growled twice and immediately crushed those guys till they withered. The steward was deeply impressed. No one would dare touch this carriage now. Upon arrival, the men rushed to eat the delicious cheese soup, savoring every drop and falling in love with its rich, creamy flavor. At night, the big family continued making melted cheese sandwiches that were insanely good. Everyone praised. "So delicious, young master." "No, I could eat cheese every day," he said. Besides cheese, it had been a while since the men ate fish, rice, and pickled eggplant soup, because they usually only had 5 cups here. When asked where to buy rice, the harem said it was only available in the royal capital. Takumi regretted not visiting the market near the king's place to buy some. Now he's too busy to have time for shopping there. Thinking of Sofia, who is also enduring life far from home like him, he wondered if she missed home, if she missed the delicious meals and sweet soup there. Sofia insisted she loved her current life more. Living in a tiny prison cage for 55 years was too depressing. Luckily, when he arrived, she was granted wings to dream big and escape that iron cage. Sofia hated dwelling on her painful past and often reminded herself to live for the present, the future, and her future mission: protecting Takumi and her big happy family. Speaking of wings of freedom, Takumi remembered the goddess Nolin, who also gave him life-changing wings during his darkest times. The name Nolin's Wings suddenly popped up. Everyone loved the name, so they immediately used it as their adventurer team name. 4 days later, the three returned home late at night. As soon as he opened the door, Takumi immediately sensed the place was filled with paralyzing gas. At the same time, the villains appeared and subdued the 3 muses, who had lost all their fighting strength. Just as they were about to stab Menkid inside the space box, he quickly shot a web to suppress them. Taking advantage of their distraction, Takumi used magic to reverse the situation and capture them in an instant. Outside, he found they even set some nasty traps. To be safe, Takumi asked Sofia to get the Adventure Guild to come clean up and load those fools onto a cart. The guildmaster told him to report to the Lord because the situation seemed worse than just bad. Next day, everyone listened as the Lord announced the investigation results from last night. From the masked men's testimony, they could now be sure the culprit was someone from the Holy Light Church. That must be why they used cleansing magic that made those dogs so utterly destroyed. Normally, these guys rent out scrapped purification tools at high prices to make some gold and silver, but now that the big brother showed up, charging money is better exchanged for a meal, blocking the path to getting rich that's on the rise. Of course, they can't sit still. Maybe I should ask if I should take refuge in a foreign land. After this storm passes, it won't be late for you to return to the underworld. However, the most dangerous place is ironically the safest. Here, the Lord can even dispatch soldiers to protect you. Elsewhere, he can't guarantee anything. The night squad will increase patrols around the city, and the captain has also sent someone to guard Min's house 24/25, so you can safely work in the workshop. Great idea. Now we just need someone to protect Min when he takes on adventurer missions. I'm Takumi, just asking, in such a critical situation, you still want people to show up, old bald man? The guild master confirms it, no doubt. In the Adventure Guild, only Wings of Patchwork are the strongest and most reputable. He's losing big if he lets you go. Not to mention all the effort Chan Nin put in to help you get stronger. Why would he open the gate for you to escape knowing it's hard to repay the hot-tempered elders? Sofia also promised to protect inside every battle, so everyone can feel more at ease. On the way back, Takumi stopped by Han's place to register the team name. He praised the name but warned that news of you being ambushed has already reached the central headquarters. Han told you to be careful because some people say Nammo but hide a bunch of knives in their hearts. He won't hesitate to harm innocent people if it benefits them or gets money. Thanks for the warning, Han. Takumi led Sofia home filled with anxiety and worry. That night, Takumi apologized to the family because everyone knows the target they're after is him. Everyone could get caught in the crossfire just for him. He felt deeply guilty. The 4 girls, of course, didn't blame him, even comforting him not to worry too much. They're itching to do something. Anyone bored with life, come here. Don't blame why once you go, you won't come back. The innocent, cheerful kid's comfort helped ease his nerves a bit. Still, having soldiers guard constantly feels awkward. Tomorrow, you'll start setting up the barrier to protect your family. Now only the adventurer mission remains. Although Sofia is the strongest among them, if they face ancient beasts, the whole group is toast. Sofia suggests the team find a slave specialized in solo escort and protection for the whole squad. That probably means going to the Mulan Trade Guild. But heads up, they only accept women slaves. Takumi better be careful when finding someone. If they bring back a guy, the guild will kick out both master and servant. That night, while everyone else slept peacefully, Takumi struggled in the workshop searching for the most effective barrier creation method. Little did he know, Sofia keenly noticed his silent hard work. The beauty worries a lot for her master, but the problem is she has no talent in alchemy to help him, which is sad. The next morning, Takumi asked Jiva to help him create the barrier. Sofia got up early and volunteered to help because she knows quite a bit about magic. Having extra help is precious. Takumi pulled out a paper and asked if the beauty could engrave this magic formation onto that metal plate. Thus, the two diligent muses carefully began engraving every stroke according to the required formula. When done, Takumi will perform the divine magic sealing on it, and it's finished. Sofia worries because he stayed up all night and now is pushing himself again, which is bad for his health. Takumi says he's only thinking about upcoming strategies, using his brain, not magic power, so he's still fine. Alongside teasing from the little spider and Tsubaki moving in, Takumi wonders what the thing the little reporter is teasing is. Sofia reveals it's a type of golem used for combat training and improvement. Riva recalls golems are probably part of the alchemist's domain. Takumi confirms that, but the magic formation to engrave on the control core is too complicated, so he hasn't dared touch it yet. Having a golem as an attacker or defender would be awesome. However, with his current mana manipulation level, it's pretty tough. That golem gang is insanely strong. Enough with the endless chatter, Takumi quickly finishes the incomplete barrier spells. Now, just place these 3 talismans around the mansion and the barrier will automatically form. From now on, no one has to worry about sudden intrusions by bad guys anymore. Just as he finished, the system suddenly announced he leveled up successfully, surprising everyone. This must be the reward for completing the magical barrier. Leveling up the dominance spell, at this perfect moment is like hitting the jackpot, because he heard any alchemy with this power can control golems. News about the church crew getting their butts kicked and captured has reached the Holy Empire. After stirring up trouble, they fear Bacula's faction will prepare a careful counterattack. The princess advises the emperor not to act rashly and to leave dealing with the captured ones for later. Now is the time to focus on the upcoming plan involving the magic array found in the ruins. The mages haven't fully analyzed it yet, but based on the ancient stone's inscriptions, the old mage thinks it might already be able to activate summoning. He announces the best time to perform the ritual is in about 2 to 3 months just right. By then, collecting 10 magic cores will be complete. At home, Takumi is testing the method of implanting magic stones into a golem to tame it, but thinking and doing are quite far apart. He's been exhausted all morning without making any real progress. Kaede wonders since Tsubaki and I are reliable enough to guard the house, why bother capturing a golem? Still, like last time, when the family was away, no one knew when they'd infiltrate. So to be safe, someone has to stay home and watch. Kid understands the issue but keeps questioning why not try taming the golem for ease. Right, he never thought of that. Maybe that plan would actually work. Takumi immediately calls Sofia to discuss and asks where golems usually appear. Sofia says there's usually stone golems in the western death forest and iron golems in an ancient dungeon near the host. Normally, dungeons are full of high-rank monsters, so hearing there are golems there is a bit surprising. More importantly, Takumi has never entered a dungeon before, and is eager to test himself this time. However, conquering a dungeon without attackers or yuong is way too risky. They'd probably end up selling salt if they recklessly enter the dungeon. Takumi gives up on his passion and shifts to the western death forest to hunt and hide behind a stone, stalking the giant golem. Sofia suddenly exclaims how lucky the group is to encounter this type on the first try. Just looking at the magic stone on its chest proves it belongs to the tier guarding the ruins. To defeat it, aim for the bright red magic stone on its chest. That's the control core. Suddenly, the golem notices it's being watched. It quickly glances sideways, making everyone panic and hide fast. Clearly, this one is strong but extremely dangerous. Sofia advises Takumi to skip it. The ruins are full of golems, so there's no shortage of replacements. Yet, the higher the danger, the greater the trust. Takumi refuses to miss this chance. Allies, 1, 2, jump onto the stone. Takumi approaches the golem, ignoring everyone's protests. The girls rush out to protect him, but he orders them all back to handle it himself. Riva praises him as insanely badass, though only he knows he's sweating bullets inside. Yet, he feels no hostility at all from the golem. Could it be the golem guarding the ruins of goddess Nolin senses the goddess's blessing on him and mistakes him for an ally? They stare at each other for so long it's about to spark flames of passion when Takumi receives news the golem has been tamed. Girls' jaws drop, unable to believe their master is just that insanely skilled. A new member is great. Everyone excitedly welcomes the golem to the team. The wings of Nolin ask if the little one will willingly follow him, and it agrees, but calling it golem sounds kinda lame. Takumi decides to name it Titan, meaning giant in mythology, sounding super classy. The only problem is that bringing it into the city like this will definitely cause chaos. Losing little Titan with infinite IQ is hard to explain, but it understands human speech very well. It actively shrinks itself into a tiny, insanely adorable version. Now all it needs is a spell to make Titan speak, then it's a perfect 10-point combo. Not that Takumi has it yet, but he promised to craft that later. For now, it's time to go home and rest. In the Holy Empire, the two pig-faced guys just leveled up a bit, immediately ditching early training to go rock climbing. Akin reacted with heavy disdain, but the two shamelessly invited the little one to join their group just for fun, completely shameless. Akin cursed at them, calling them trash, and then walked away to avoid the irritation. After a busy day, Takumi called the three little wives to discuss something important. After a week of thinking, he decided to break the contract and set the three of them free. Takumi explained that now he's surrounded by enemies on all sides. He can't selfishly make everyone suffer along with him. Besides, little spider Tsubaki and Golem are both high-level magical beasts. They will stay behind to protect him, so everyone else can safely leave and enjoy their lives. Takumi also prepared a small dowry for each, so they won't have to worry about food or clothes later. Sofia asked when he had this idea. Takumi revealed that ever since the family was suddenly attacked, he's been deeply troubled. The more she heard, the harder it was to accept. Maria stood up, pointing her sword at him challengingly. If he wanted to send the little one away, he'd have to win. The little one didn't understand why he always prioritized those people behind him over himself, such a big idiot. Takumi emphasized that he only wanted the three to be safe because all of them are priceless gifts he cherishes. The whole group wanted to stand shoulder to shoulder with him in every battle, to protect him and live happily and healthily with him for life. Isn't that the team called Wings of Nolin from SAO? If we lose our wings, can we still fly in SAO? Even Sofia spoke up, scolding Takumi's decision, saying it's better for everyone to stay away from him, but for loyal slaves, those words hurt the most. Every sincere word from the little wives made Takumi realize his huge mistake. He'd been selfishly imposing his thoughts on everyone without asking what they truly wanted. He deeply regrets it and apologized profusely. Memories of meeting everyone for the first time flashed through his mind, and Takumi felt truly lucky to have such wonderful girls by his side. Once again, he asked the three, "Are you sure you want to follow me, to share both fortune and hardship?" And of course, all three nodded in unison, confessing, "We agree. What's with acting like we're at a wedding, huh?" A few days later, Takumi finished crafting new armor for Golem and used a spell to grant it a voice. Now, it can not only communicate but argue and talk back too. However, the most awaited feature is the terror version Golem opening the secret gift box. Golem's armor appears, and now whenever it needs to fight, it'll jump inside. Otherwise, it just stays in this cute tiny form. No need to scare the AI out of its mind. If you happen to see the goddess in the sky, just look and feel happy. However, recently rumors surfaced that the goddess Anis is about to reappear, though she doesn't really exist. It's probably some mysterious trick by the followers of the light religion. Even though the goddess can't intervene, the beautiful sister has a reliable trump card, Takumi. Everything depends on him now. She hopes that this time, in a direct fight, the obsessed grandson won't disappoint her. In the Holy Empire, Elizabeth wears a dark smile, because the moment she's been waiting for is almost here. Compared to those with power and money, the powerless are always at a disadvantage. They suffer losses and get trampled on. And the people in this village are no different, exploited daily by their lords, until they can't stand it anymore and have to leave home. The thing that makes them lose hope and hate the most is those nobles, to the point that they couldn't take it anymore and had to leave home. Now, what makes them lose faith and hate the most is those nobles. News of everyone being oppressed quickly reached the Lord's ears. As a person who always cares for his country and people, hoping daily for their prosperous life, he was furious at the capitalists' disgusting actions. First, they needed to find shelter for over 1,000 homeless people, which required an enormous space. This land is currently the only place meeting all requirements, but unfortunately, it's often plagued by monsters. The complicated situation makes things even harder. The only person the Lord thinks can handle these tough problems is May. At Nolin's Wings team base, under May's command, they have been preparing to conquer the dungeon. Among the available dungeons, the group decides to choose Beast King Forest, a place with a strange space where underground, the sky is still blue, clouds white, golden sunlight shines, and fresh green forests thrive. The monsters inside are stronger and more numerous than those outside. Luckily, thanks to Kaida's precise scouting skills, she can still spot monsters in the dense forest before they get close. Also, thanks to Titan blocking all monster attacks, the group has continuously defeated the bosses on each floor. The reward for their perfect raids is a treasure chest filled with rare valuables. This excites everyone immensely. In just one day, with their quick dungeon clearing skills, the group reached the deepest floor, approaching the final boss room. Fearless, Kaidi and Maria laugh with excitement, eyes sparkling. Sofia is calmer, just relieved that so far the group has faced little danger or serious injury. Suddenly, a giant ball emerges from behind. Panicked, they order a full retreat. Chased by the ball, they run desperately, barely shaking off the relentless thing, but the group is cornered. Following Hin's advice, Kaidi spots the final boss ahead, and everyone quickly switches to defense mode. As the winged dinosaur-like beast approaches, Sofia identifies it as a dragon, With S-rank fire and unmatched ferocity among the monsters, it tears the group apart, forcing them to scatter and evade separately. At this rate, our family will lose everything. Takumi quickly commands Kaide and Titan to subdue the tail. Disrupting the dragon's formation, Titan restrains it while Kaide shoots strong spider silk, sealing the massive tail, immobilizing it. Sofia seizes the chance to stab it, causing it to bleed. Takumi fires a dense rain of arrows with his magic ring. Revi casts a fireball barrage with his staff. Maria, specializing in fire, summons judgment magic from the magic team, cornering the dragon with no escape. At that moment, Takumi orders Titan to add the light of judgment, blasting the dragon into pieces. It seemed the boss fight was over, but the ancient dragon was not so easily defeated. Its body remained intact and unharmed. It still had enough strength to lightly toss Titan, slamming him into the wall. Observing its defense moves, Sofia identifies its weak spot on the flank. She summons Tsubaki from the spacebox where it has been since the battle began. It charges straight at the dragon, ramming its side, causing the dragon to roar in pain. Taking advantage of its struggle, Takumi enchants an arrow and throws it into its mouth. Hit by the spell, the boss instantly turns to dust and vanishes. The battle was tough, but they claimed a resounding victory thanks to that spectacular save. Tsubaki has now leveled up and grown bigger, becoming Dragon Horse, the fire dragon descending into the golden stream, leaving behind a scale as big as a car. Takumi gleefully takes it for experiments. Maybe he'll create something OP. Returning home, the Lord immediately summons him to the mansion about the ongoing housing issue for migrants. He wants Takumi to help. The southern land needs clearing of monsters and creating barriers to protect the weak villagers, especially during this time threatened by the Holy Empire's forces. The Lord feels uneasy, but, for the sake of thousands of civilians, he's willing to lose his pride. He won't let them suffer in misery. Sofia feels uneasy and wants to refuse, but recalling when they first arrived, with nowhere to go, strangers warmly welcomed him. Life has given us good things, so we should do something meaningful. The refugees' problem can't be ignored or pretended not to hear, wandering the streets with nowhere to hide. The family refused help from the Engineer Guild, choosing to rely on themselves and set out immediately at night. The land to be developed has abundant water and an ideal environment. Using earth magic, Takumi easily builds a surrounding wall, digs a deep trench outside, and constructs a solid fortress. Thanks to Kaede and Revai's help, the construction work was completed very quickly. Over there, Maria and Sofia went into the forest together to harvest wood and eliminate monsters. The work was evenly distributed to everyone, and everyone gave their best, completing their assigned tasks as well as possible. Once everything was stable, Sofia rode Tsubaki back to Baden to report to the Lord. He could hardly believe it because the entire city was finished in just 10 days, ready to welcome the people. Wow, this is insane, guys. Only this extraordinary family could have pulled it off. Sofia confirmed that too. Takumi promised to ensure everyone's safety as soon as they settled into the new territory. The people in the carriage had no idea the place they were going to was a paradise. Instead, having suffered so much at the hands of nobles, they had completely lost faith in life. They thought this was just a migration to another place to be tormented by nobles again. Upon arrival, the Night Corps was overwhelmed by the massive estate and charm Takumi created in just 10 short days. As he had promised, to protect the village from monsters, he proactively built strong walls and a magnificent castle. He specially reserved it for the new manager who would oversee this area. The place was spacious, with enough living space for everyone, from high-ranking officials to lower office staff. Wastewater was treated with magical devices and septic tanks. The Night Corps didn't know how to properly thank the hero Takumi, so they just bowed deeply to express their sincere gratitude. Among the migrants, there was a beastman girl named Mana. Since her husband died at the hands of cruel nobles, she had lost her way, wondering what her purpose was in this world. Wandering aimlessly, Mana was proactively greeted by Sofia. Knowing her situation, Sofia suggested that if she wanted an easier job, she could help her find one. It turned out Mana was an excellent cook, which was perfect. The household workforce had increased, and Maria also needed help with cooking, so Sofia brought Mana to the young master for approval. Takumi was easygoing. As long as she worked hard, was honest, and treated everyone like family, that was enough. As for the salary, he would listen to her wishes first. Thought this was all smooth sailing, but because of the heavy trauma caused by the previous nobles, she couldn't work for other nobles anymore. She clearly expressed her hatred for nobles, even though everyone tried to persuade her that Takumi wasn't like those nobles. Beastmen are stubborn, forcing others is too harsh, and Takumi wouldn't make things hard for her anymore. He wanted her to think it over carefully and come back only when she was sure because everyone would always welcome her. Leaving the castle, Mayani's mind was foggy, only knowing Takumi was unlike the cruel nobles but still spoke bitter words. It was just the anger bottled up since her husband's death, taking out frustration on Mana, feeling she had no face to return to see him anymore. She walked while lost in thought, and unknowingly left the city. Bad luck hit as a horde of monsters suddenly attacked the house. Kaide hurriedly informed Miney so Takumi could find a way to defend. First, he ordered the gates to be sealed to block the monsters, then asked the Night Court to protect the people in case of emergencies. Only then did everyone realize Mana had left the city and not returned, determined not to let anyone face danger. Takumi and the others rode golems outside the city to rescue Mana just as a pack of wolves was about to make her their meal. Sister Takumi rushed forward, pulling her to safety, then swung her sword to stab the wolves. Gritting her teeth, Mana was still scared because there were many more behind, but no worries. From afar, Takumi's harem had just finished off the remaining monsters, and Kaide was even complaining, because that was nothing to her. The fight wasn't even a challenge. The life-saving gratitude was bigger than the sky and sea, even if a bit late. But Mana begged to become a loyal servant to Takumi for life. Moved by his righteous heart, Takumi thus gained another trustworthy squad, and the big family happily welcomed the new member. Later, the whole family threw a grand celebration, unaware the Empire faction was about to launch an attack. News of Bakula's appearance and the ultra-OP fortress reached them, making the jealous king irritated and uncomfortable. He wanted to send troops to seize the land. Just as the battle formation was completed, Elizabeth's shadow congratulated the king father on soon conquering the world. While Takumi's side was dining, the whole family suddenly felt a massive surge of magical power pass by. Remembering the words of the goddess Nolin, she said she had transported him back 5 million hero points ago, and today marked exactly 365 days since he first stepped here. This time, a real catastrophe is coming. After hiding for a while, the time is ripe. The Cydonia Empire starts acting under the pretense of cultural exchange and national identity. The group of so-called heroes go to carry out their plot to seize territory. Those two pig-faced guys need no introduction, but everyone was surprised when Akna, usually rebellious, happily went along this time. She understands that only by leaving their territory will there be a chance to escape, and once there, she'll find someone suitable to help her, though she's not sure if things will go as planned. But a girl's intuition tells her she must go because the opportunity won't come twice. Meanwhile, Takumi is still enjoying a peaceful, happy life with his harem. Along with everyone else in the territory, farming and fishing life is pretty fun. Lately, Sofia often goes to the forest to hunt dangerous beasts to ease the village's worries. After finishing a hunting trip and returning home, she suddenly sees Kaide and Titan bringing back two huge monsters. They managed to take down the beasts while they were wandering, trying to sneak into the city. Based on what she observed, Sofia confirms that monster strength has been increasing lately. Also, there are smaller monsters she's never seen before. This is insane. 3 months ago, there was a magical power surge. She thinks it must have affected the monsters somehow. Suddenly, remembers what the goddess Nolin said. Takumi instantly knows this is because the hero summoning magic has been activated. At night, the Empire's messengers arrived with news that heroes have appeared at the Holy Cydonia Empire. This only confirms to Takumi that the hero's summoning magic is indeed active. It's still unknown whether these heroes are evil or good, so Takumi must return to the capital quickly before they arrive. Hopefully, just as the goddess said, they were summoned to reform the rotten Cydonia Empire. The next day, he goes to the Adventurers Guild to gather intel from the know-it-all clerk. According to reports, the heroes in Cydonia consist of 2 teenage boys and 1 teenage girl. All 3 have black hair and black eyes, pretty unusual compared to the locals in this other world. Being summoned here himself, Takumi immediately thinks maybe those 3 color puffer kids are also pure Japanese blood like him. Also, the news says their visit to the cathedral was just a cover. They actually want to apply silent pressure on countries with many construct church followers, bringing up politics just to add some extra drama to life. Now to the main topic. The clerk informs that the Papex Trading Company directly requested Nolin's Winged Guild to escort them to the royal capital. Of course, when Mr. Papex requests it, the Winged Guild can't refuse. After gathering info, Takumi briefly tells everyone about the escort mission, though the whole team will be there. No arguments needed, but Manny also asks if he can hitch a ride along. Takumi is quite surprised since escort missions are usually dangerous, not some ghost hunting ostrich ride. Still, being alone in this huge, empty house just thinking about it makes him sick to his stomach. He'd rather share hardships with everyone than endure lonely misery for 100 years. Just then, Maria overhears the big sister's wish, so she immediately speaks up, inviting him to come be their guest. Leaving them home alone now would be a bit harsh, young master. At the same time, Sofia passes by and adds a few words advising the master to reconsider the request. In the end, majority rules. Takumi agrees to take everyone with him to the capital, no one left behind. Meanwhile, the heroes who just arrived in the capital are already showing their lecherous side. Rumor has it, the slaves here are all drop-dead gorgeous. If they don't flirt a little, this would have been a wasted youth trip. Those 2 bastards really disgust Can to the core. He just hopes to separate from this trash heap as soon as possible. At the same time, Nolin's Winged Guild successfully escorts the Papex Trading Company to the capital. Takumi then leads everyone to the Adventurers Guild to collect their reward. Fate has a funny way running into each other early instead of late. Right at that moment, the Cydonia heroes also arrive. As soon as he walked in, he started acting like a know-it-all, ordering the guys to get out of the way. He glanced over at the group of fresh, cute Maria girls. They were drooling over him, stepping forward to flirt and all that, but they had promised for life to be the master's harem, so they politely declined to waste time bargaining. Takumi, standing nearby, interrupted, hoping they wouldn't cause chaos in a foreign land. Being a warrior representing an entire country, they should know their place and respect hierarchy. Don't disgrace your superiors. Getting scolded straight by Takumi stung worse than eating chili. They immediately drew their swords to intimidate him, but before the fight even started, the guy got wrecked so hard his fake holy sword snapped in half. Took a humiliating defeat. That guy began to use his warrior status to suppress, but every family has its own story. Once you step in here, you have to respect the rules of this place. Daring to draw swords and start fighting right in the Adventurers Guild. Are you guys crazy? At this moment, they turned to find all the guild's top talents locked in battle with each other. Two fighting a whole bunch, not a single one able to escape. They started getting scared shitless. Seeing the tension rise, Akan hurried over to intervene, bowed and apologized to the two idiots, begging everyone to let it go and not face off. Takumi seemed to realize something. After hearing the introduction, he said his name was Takumi, captain of the Wings Guild. Akan was startled, wanting to say something, but was stopped by him, then secretly whispered, inviting him to the Lex Hotel tonight to avoid eavesdroppers. His team was staying there. As promised that night, Akan, despite being chased fiercely by guards, led the maid Lulu and fled to Takumi's place. Just when it seemed like they'd be caught, suddenly, Sofia and Maria appeared to support them against the guards. Meanwhile, little Kaide from above used a cocoon to secretly transport the two safely to the hotel. Connie spoke up, thanking everyone after carrying both master and servant on their backs. Got straight to the main topic. She wondered if Takumi was the Japanese summoned here. Promising to keep this secret from the Sidonia Empire, he finally nodded to admit it. Takumi also revealed he used magic to change his appearance to look like locals to avoid suspicion from the Empire. Over at the 2-month veteran warriors, Hung Fak looked displeased hearing that Akan fled. No wonder he obediently followed the group here. Turns out there was a plan to smuggle him out early on. The plan hit a snag. The two temporarily held back. They wanted to report to the Empire and wait for the Emperor's orders, avoiding a major plan being ruined. Hearing Takumi is a foreigner from another world with the warriors, everyone was extremely surprised. But after a moment of confusion, the whole group quickly accepted it. Also, everyone knew the Sidonia Empire was truly evil for daring to use summoning magic that caused magical disturbances, and they surely planned other sinister plots when infiltrating the neighboring country. Takumi didn't blame Akan and Lulu because they were victims too. Akan confirmed that the two bulls weren't like that before, but after arriving here and eating at the royal palace a lot, they were brainwashed without realizing it. Thinking about that evil den made her use herself. Akan immediately knelt down begging the grandpa to save her from this disaster. The whole group hurriedly told her to stand up and stop acting so ceremoniously. Sending her to another country is safest, otherwise, the Empire will hunt her down. That's the safest. He wants to keep her within sight to protect the unstable capital. Takumi decided to take Akan back to his mansion in Boston. Noticing the chain on Lulu's neck, Akan said it was a slave master contract ring. It's like illegal imprisonment, making her hate and despise it. Without many words, Takumi raised his hand and nullified the contract for Lulu. From now on, to Akan, she's like a friend, a little sister to keep company. No more master or slave here. That night, the two sisters were taken by the grandpa to the mansion and treated to some Japanese bestsellers. It had been a long time since eating hometown food. Akan was so moved she teared up while eating. After days of tension and vigilance in a dark place, she finally could let her guard down. After all, she was lucky to have met the grandpa. Late at night, Takumi declared from today on, he would nullify all slave contracts with everyone, but it's not like he wanted to kick everyone out. Like Akan and Lulu, he wanted everyone to live together like close family. No slaves or masters. Just mutual care and support like blood relatives. A few days later in Westford, a pack of monsters suddenly attacked. Things happened so fast that no one could react in time. Right now, all the other guilds are still busy finishing their unfinished missions and haven't returned yet. So the guild leader summoned the Winged Squad, the Wolf Fang team, plus 5 street girls from Black Rose to go hunt monsters before dawn. The 3 squads quickly set off toward the city under the monster ambush. To prevent any intruders from breaking into the castle, Takumi purposely left Little Titan at home to guard Lulu and Akan. Upon arrival, they didn't jump into battle immediately. Takumi intentionally gave Sofia a sword he just invented. It contains a huge amount of magical energy inside. If you pour it in, it will definitely help her a lot in combat. Besides that, he also has another sword that pairs with this one. If they can coordinate the 2 swords skillfully, I guarantee those monsters will be *100% destroyed. Today, hearing that he'd get to fight alongside the guild leader, The kid was super happy. He swore he'd try his absolute best and definitely wouldn't let him down. To minimize the number of monsters breaking through the city walls, they deliberately built a high defense wall. They were dead sure the monsters would get stuck outside and couldn't get in. But in every misfortune, there's worse luck. They never expected the monsters could fly like birds and easily bypass the barrier. With no other choice, the three squads had to charge out together to fight through the night. They split into 3 routes, 2 attack lines and 1 defense line, determined not to let a single monster slip into the city and harm innocent people. After all, the 3 squads were top-tier server adventurers, so they moved fast. By dawn, the monsters had all been wiped out, lying dead and scattered across the empty fields. With the danger past, everyone finally dared to come out and thank the living bodhisattva god. Takumi had saved them from extinction. Everyone thought it was all over, but the second wave of monsters was actually 3 to 4 times bigger than last night. However, this time, their direction was toward the forest edge. It looked like they were retreating on purpose, but something felt off. It was like they were coordinating under the command of some hidden leader. Takumi also remembered Sidonia once summoned warriors who created a massive magical disturbance. Maybe after that incident, the monsters evolved into creatures with brains instead of just dumb limbs like before. In the Sidonia Empire, news about the monster attacks was already being reported. At this rate, they would definitely cause massive damage to Westford. Taking advantage of the chaos, the treacherous king decided to support the monsters to make them stronger, then let them wreak havoc on his enemies, a perfect, borrowed blade, strategy. That wolf-hearted Elizabeth immediately agreed, just like her father. After the bloody battle with the monsters, the injured were more numerous than expected. Medical supplies were limited. Sofia hinted that Takumi should heal her first, but the kid stubbornly refused. Only when no one else was in danger did he finally treat his own wounds. Watching the skinny back of the main character, his answer was no surprise. That's exactly who Takumi is, a guy who always puts others' injuries before his own. A good person like that deserves to be protected more than anything else. So even if it costs her life, she must keep him safe to wipe out the monsters once and for all. Takumi left Veva, Money, and Kaede behind to protect everyone and watch the remaining kids. He and the others would enter the forest to fight. The elite teams quickly set off, but as soon as both sides faced each other, the monsters started tearing each other apart in a confusing mess. Finally, after devouring all the other monsters, the last surviving demon beast suddenly transformed into a massive original form. Ready for a bloody showdown with the adventurers, it quickly summoned a new army to launch a full-scale assault on the small fry for everyone. Sofia, fearing for her master, recklessly charged to solo the boss monster despite the danger, caring nothing for her own safety to seize the chance to kill it herself. Still, not only was its body huge and towering, but its skills were insanely OP. Luckily, Takumi pulled her to safety just before the sparks flew, or she would have turned to gold long ago. Who would have thought this girl doesn't know what fear is, still provoking the monster to lure it away from everyone else. As a result, it shot sparks chasing after her. Not afraid of guns, it wanted to run off, dropping its pants when it was about to pounce and capture the impulsive girl. Luckily, Kaida's group used fire magic to scare it off just in time. Thanks to that, Sofia's body was only a little dirty and bruised, but her strong spirit stayed safe. Then, with everyone's support and the perfect dual sword combo from Takumi and Sofia, the monster was split in 2, ending the battle with a complete victory for Feta. Takumi was really unhappy with Sofia's reckless behavior, so he ran over and gave her a serious scolding, but after confirming she wasn't hurt at all, he finally relaxed and passed out from exhaustion. The battle ended, and everyone waited for Takumi to recover before heading back to the mansion. Meanwhile, the 2 warriors had sneaked off to another country to cause chaos, ruthlessly slaughtering everywhere without feeling any guilt. That night, everyone threw a lavish party to celebrate their victory. Reminded by his harem, Takumi kindly brought food to Sofia, who was sitting sadly in a corner. He apologized for raising his voice that day. Takumi knew she only wanted to protect him from danger, but Sofia didn't realize that if she got hurt, he would be just as upset. Understanding each other's feelings and care, Sofia's sadness instantly turned into happiness. They quickly made up and continued enjoying the joyful party with everyone and their lovely muses. That evening, Takumi met with the goddess to thank her for the warning about the rampaging warriors. Surely they'll be back for revenge soon. But it's all good, good always triumphs over evil. He believes that together, they'll overcome everything and thanks the goddess for granting him this amazing life with his precious wives. He also gave the goddess her favorite sweet as a sincere thank you, and that's where this story ends. If you enjoyed it, please like the video and subscribe to Ed's channel to support him. Thank you, everyone.